Okay. Encore, Jim. This is an encore presentation.
Oh, it is, isn't
of the
it?
State House Podcast.
Yeah. I spent 33 weeks wondering what I do with my first Thursday not podcasting, other than Thanksgiving. And turns out, joke's on me, I'm podcasting.
Just when you thought you got out.
They pulled me back in.
Yeah, one more time. I missed you. I couldn't go another week without you, Jim. Sorry.
Yeah, I know what you mean. We got a thing going on, I think, here. We got a podcast relationship.
You know what? We are the best podcast around, and it's creating a lot of tension and animosity with other radio shows and podcasts.
Yeah, well, we're kind of freeform. We don't need no stinking rules, you know. We try to be polite to guests who are both for and against what we're doing, because we have both. And we do what no other radio show or podcast does, is we do it from the seat of our discontent. We do it from in front of the State House on a weekday. Yes, it's hard to get out, and even though we're both, disabled technically, I have other things to be doing. People think we just show up. Actually, in a discussion I was having just last night, we were somewhat accused of just showing up and then winging it. We don't just show up. I've watched the pain it takes you to get there. You see what I have to go through to set up, and between the two of us, we have fully 3/4 of one person. We are our own road crew, and did miss a Thursday.
No, in 2 years we haven't missed a Thursday.
No. And rain, wind, getting bumped around.
I think I have to start tooting my own horn, because it seems like people think I'm mailing it in, and I'm not.
Well,
this is hard work.
It is, and I think what it is there's a subset of people that have a discontent about
successful radio stations.
Us doing that podcast.
Oh.
Yeah, and the thing is the people of this group of discontent watched the podcast in over a year.
Oh, but they haven't watched it.
Well, one of them was leading a round of singing at the end of last year's podcast. If you don't smoke marijuana, you go to hell. What was that song? Remember that? It was a funky little
What were the
thing.
lyrics to that? Happy 420, everybody! Was that it?
No, we occasionally get people who like to scream in the mic, too. No, I'm just saying that, you got to watch out when you throw stones. And so it's probably as good a time as any to mention it. The Coalition for Medical Marijuana New Jersey, we're discontinuing them as our sponsor.
Wait, we're not going to have the Coalition banner behind our podcast anymore?
No, we're not.
Really?
Because of board member concern, we won't say who, that
wait, what's
that we're not really a podcast, not really a radio. Let me finish.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm all fired up now.
We're not really a radio show.
Okay.
We wing it. We don't prepare, and the show is degrading towards women that we do. I know.
Wait a minute.
That couldn't be further from the truth. I'm saying we've had guests on that might have talked about the sex habits of our governor in a way that, or things like that. And I'm not saying that we've had the wheels fall off regularly the first year, but it got better. My point is, you've made a transformation from being what's considered a shock jock to somebody with their eye on the prize, realizing where that line is, where you won't push people away, but you still are valid and interesting in your presentation.
And funny and not boring.
Yeah, and I backed it up by saying that you finally had your moment with Ron Rice and didn't say anything wrong. You were diplomatic with the one man that you think you'd want to put a chokehold on.
We've made a lot of phone calls to the NRA. We made phone calls to...
I mentioned calling... and I mentioned, I said, well, Ken, I really liked how I could see you pucker when Lefty said, "Okay, we're going to call Senator Cruz Perez," and started dialing, and Ken was like, because this is an ally as a senator who
we
helps.
like her.
Yeah, and you were going to call to find out why she hadn't introduced a Senate version of an assembly bill that would help Laura Barber not have to go to school to give her child her sip of medicinal marijuana liquid. At any rate, as I told everybody, and with Ken listening, they know that it's the truth, that he was so relieved that you did so well that he was somewhat shocked. Well, you have that persona. You've come from being. I've seen video you on the Ricky Lake show. I've seen where you started out.
But that works. That works in today's world. Shock. You have to shock people.
It does work. Let's just
smack him around a little bit.
Just say that Howard Stern, the shock jock people think of.
Opie and Anthony. Let's go with Opie. I
want to use Howard Stern for a particular reason.
Damn it.
And then we'll go to Opie and Anthony. Howard Stern had a plaque put up somewhere, the Howard Stern rest stop on 295.
Vince Lombardi at rest area became the Howard Stern rest area.
Yeah, right. Because Governor Whitman promised him she'd do that if he whatever. In other words, a governor used his help to get elected, so there is value in getting out there, whether it's shock jock or not. But we walk that thin line outside the State House where we're dealing with legislators. We want to pull them in. So the loud, boisterous isn't going to do it quite as quick as content, but we got to be us too,
We did good.
Yeah.
We did really good
We had
this
a good year.
It was a good year and a bad year in a lot of ways. One of the reasons why we're actually here is because of Roger Barber. He brought us all together.
He passed away 3 months ago. Just 2 days away from being 3 months ago. And are you going to that fundraiser?
Oh, yeah.
I've put it up on Friends of the Facebook page, on my Facebook page. It's in Maple Shade, 7 to 11, Saturday evening. $25, get in, beef and beer. And as important as the money, excuse me.
Laura's having a rough time. And this is the kind of stuff you don't hear about on other radio shows. You don't hear about this stuff. You don't hear about the people that are suffering on other radio shows, but you hear about it here because we're right on the pulse of medical cannabis in New Jersey. Nobody realizes that, though. We're taken for granted. I don't appreciate that from this. Let's call her V.
Okay.
VA. VA.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, on her page, she says I'm disparaging towards women. On her page today, there's vaginas on her page that look like shellfish, or shellfish that look like vaginas. That's very offensive to me as somebody who enjoys vagina. I think that's offensive. I find that very offensive.
I like how you're looking at me, waiting for me to stop you.
Look at her page. Look at VA's page, and you'll see vaginas. And I'm the offensive one. I'm really glass houses. And I don't charge people to learn how to podcast either. You want to learn how to podcast? Just come smoke a joint with me. I'll smoke a joint with you, and I'll teach you how to do this for free. I won't victimize anybody.
Yeah, but see, you don't work up a plan before a podcast. Let me ask you something. Where's the storyboard of how today's supposed to go?
We're going to talk to Michelle about her getting victimized today,
Well,
which is
there you
something
go.
other radio shows don't do.
That's a plan. Now, within that plan, do you have a subset of plans? Where are you going to begin? How much time do you want to spend on it? You got a storyboard it.
You're wasting my time now. Let's get to the story.
I know.
It doesn't make sense. All the things that you heard about that they talked about right in front of your face.
Yeah.
You're on the line. They're talking shit about you on the line, about your podcast.
Yeah, I'm not going to mention names, but it was a board meeting.
That upsets me.
As far as I know, we don't have privacy restrictions on what we talk about after a board meeting.
The same.
We publish notes. What do you call it when you afterwards?
Yeah.
We
Minutes.
Thank you. See, now I should have known that. That was bad podcasting. I'm sorry. Can we do that again? Can we do a second take?
I was.
Yes, I'm being facetious.
Remember last year I was kicked off Fully Baked Radio because of her?
Their loss was my gain.
You're on the air with Fully.
Hi, we're looking for Lefty. Am I on the air, Lefty?
You're on the air.
We'll transfer you from the Fully Baked Radio show to the Steve Cross show.
Hold on.
I'm on 3 radio shows outside the radio show.
Nice.
How are you? I'm Tony. Very nice to meet you.
Are you with Jesse?
I am, yes.
Okay,
But
cool.
She never answered me.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Come on in.
No, yeah. All right, we're walking in now.
Okay, bye.
Later.
Yeah. So, talking to the mic so I can hear you, dear.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was wondering, he was knocking on the window, I guess.
Yes.
Okay, now we've got dead air. Let me tell
Well,
you
I'm
something
sorry
about
about the dead-
Let me tell you something about podcasting, sir. You should have given me a sign, a kick under the table, and some sort of hand sign. Then I would have had.
We're so
That
unprepared.
was dead air. You know what? I think she's right.
You know what?
We are
V,
unprofessional.
You're right, V.
We're
We
outs-
suck.
We're outsiders.
We suck.
Yeah.
But we're still better than you. And your shitty radio thing that you charge people for.
All right, you get to say that.
I can say whatever I want now because she talks shit about me.
This is your show, man.
And that's a bad thing to do.
I can't stop you on your own show.
Bad thing to do. Because let me tell you something. Happy 420, everybody! Sorry. That was my imitation. Pretty good.
That in and of itself was annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, it's worse than Hillary Clinton. I thought Hillary Clinton was bad until I heard the.
There are two things I could have changed about Hillary Clinton, and she would be president. One, how she talked like that, and two, and I never, ever have anything to say about how a person dresses. But there's a reason people don't dress like that. There's a reason. It's not trend setting.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. It's like looking at somebody's sofa and saying, oh, that would make a nice coat for fabric. It was, and the reason I know this is a couple of times she showed up somewhere like dressed regular, like ordinary people, without whatever it was. Christine Whitman dressed like that sometimes too. But she looked fantastic when she dressed regular. She really, you wanted to lean in more than sit back. And it's just that when you have a microphone, you can talk like this, but I guess when you're speaking publicly, whether it's an arena or to a large group, she seems to like to talk with that, and everything has an emphasis. And it does wear. So anyway, it's all about how you dress and speak.
So no more CMMNJ podcast.
No more CMMJ sponsored podcast. We're dropping them as a sponsor.
Yeah. Tony, grab a mic. How do you feel about that? Grab this yellow mic here. There you go.
It's news to me.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on.
Breaking news.
I was wondering what's going on today.
Well, there was concern at last night's board meeting.
Was the board meeting last night at the library?
No, that's the monthly meeting. We have a board of directors meeting
all right.
4 times a year. We do it at a conference, telephone
Yeah,
conference.
Jim was drinking beer listening to the conference.
Yeah.
That's great.
Partying.
Yeah, well, I'm just taking part. It was medicinal.
Yeah.
But at one point, after going over the year's worth of sponsorship and last year, because it actually wasn't as much as last year, and everything was going well until there was a voice of discontent, a female voice, and I say that only because it was all about how disparaging and degrading to women our podcast is. Now, you've been to a few podcasts this year.
Didn't we do we shut down the podcast for the ladies that were protesting against Trump?
God.
Yeah, we did. Well, yeah, we did that for a whole women's podcast. We for the first time ever, and that's where Lefty got to talk with Senator Ron Rice.
Yeah.
We did that in a show of solidarity with the way Donald Trump speaks about women. The first time ever, we've given up our podcast, turned our mic down, and podcast what somebody else had. So, very good point, Tony.
I was there. I witnessed it. I thought it was a great day. I
But
thought everything was
the
excellent.
point, the point is there were times when we were beginning when Shock Jock Lefty hadn't made the transition to whatever's in between that and, regular. If you listen to MMR in the morning, I love their morning
Or
show.
Imus, anybody.
And it's
They're all shocking.
Imus is a little more at the top of a heap, and he can just bash you, and you got to shut up. And same with Howard Stern. At 93.3, where Preston is kind of top dog and Steve's next top dog, They interrupt each other. They interject. They have fun. They do have a script, but they deviate and jump back. Deviate, jump back. They're good at it, and I guess I would be more like Preston, and you'd be like Steve. Only you're the top dog.
No, I'm not the top dog. You're the top dog, dude.
Yeah.
You're always the top dog.
Anyway,
I wouldn't be doing this without you, Jim. Jim, I wouldn't be here with if you weren't doing what you're doing. Seriously.
well, we did have a good year, and it ended. We had some quality podcasts especially the last 2 months, and with Ken as our news director, it kind of let us off the hook.
Is Ken still going to be our news director?
Yes, I've invited him to stay on.
Okay. This is very interesting.
Yeah, this is a developing issue here. I'm supposed to have a large sponsor donating
Right. So
money in for the CMMNJ
no
Sativa
more.
Cross
That
podcast.
that $5,000 or $10,000 or 20 grand, whatever that was.
I don't know how much it was going to be.
It's coming to us now. It's not going to CMMNJ anymore.
No, yeah, it was
They
to the
fucked up.
It's specifically for the podcast.
They fucked up.
Can I ask what's it's not going to CMMJ? I've been under a rock helping a few people, so I have not been on TV or been able to listen or online. What happened?
There's a woman. We'll just call her VA for now.
Let me explain it.
Okay.
Yeah, there was discontent at last night's CMMNJ board meeting. We do a telephone conference call about how the show CMMNJ might not want to really be connected to it because of the way we talk about women.
Wait. CMMJ said they don't want to be.
No. One person on the board, and I agreed. I said I agreed that the wheels fell off a couple of times, and there have been things said that I can't put back into somebody's mouth when they say them. And
Just as speaking right now.
Yeah, and I explained that it's like herding cats. That the nature of what we do, we have more unique individuals. Look at who's sitting in this room right now, and how each person is. We are all different from each other.
And we would all be judged
by a lot, but we cover the board this way. That's a good thing. But it also means that it's harder to control. And I explained that I've even heard, here comes Jim, at a podcast when I was walking back to the
Jim,
table.
because I feel the same way. Thank
you. Here comes Jim.
Here's Jessie, that crazy hippie. Oh God, what's she gonna say now? The truth?
Well, for me, it was because one of the boys was being bad. It smelled like cannabis near the podcast table at the annex, and that's not allowed. When I say that's not allowed, everybody understands. If I'm not looking, I'm not going to turn around to try to catch people.
We are not the police.
In other words,
Jim's the coolest.
Well, no, don't. I'm just saying, don't disrespect me. That
don't shit in our own house.
You do it right in front of me. Now, like at the last podcast, there were certain times I would walk away because,
Jim, can I just stop you real quick? Because I have to say, Jim, if everyone would think the way that you just spoke, such as, and I don't know how people are going to feel about this, but what I don't see, I don't know. But guess what? This country's supposed to be a free country. We're allowed to do what we want. If someone chooses to A, break the law, B, abide by the law, when did we become the civil police? And when did people say that Jim had to be held accountable for what others do?
Well, it's the one time that doesn't really apply, and it's the herding cats principle, is, say, at the podcast. Things should be run by Lefty or me if it's going to be something going, not said, but you get to know what can and can't be said. We like to keep it about cannabis. We keep trying to steer back to it, but we like the way it gets off track but back on, and it gets off track but back on.
We have to keep our listeners entertained
we
at the same
do,
time.
but we have to do it the way Lefty and Jim say so.
Is that right? What other people were like taking your podcast a different direction?
If we try to make everybody happy, we're going to make nobody happy.
Amen.
But I'm just saying, at the podcast, and by and large, it works out that way. That it's people shouldn't.
We really only have about 5 hardcore people at the podcast all year round. We have more people that come and go, but people that get out there, that get the court dates like myself, that go to the police stations, that when that win, we probably only have
Mm.
about 4 to 6 people that are ride or die. I'm grateful for everyone that comes. We need more support. But for the people that just sit there to be seen on a Thursday and say they're doing things and then not truly do anything, and I don't know who that was, but there's many of those people. Oh, these dang allergies. But if we had more people that were hardcore, and what I mean hardcore is look in the mirror, whatever they believe, stand on their 2 feet, and handle consequences if they come along or if they see a fellow patient or someone that should be, help them.
I would like to say everybody does have their limitations, what they can get to and can't get to. And I know on a Thursday, as an example, it's hard for people to get out. That's why we do the podcast. People don't have to come. They can watch or listen as they want. But I even, you hear like, well, it's just hard to get there on a weekday. And Okay. What bothers me about that is I look at the pictures of what Cheryl and I used to do, and me carrying her to and from a car, and
you made it happen.
And we made it happen. We found reasons to make it happen rather than reasons to not make it happen.
You had passion,
and
Jim.
I'm not saying that. And I had a job then, and I needed money, and it's all that. But we did show up. So.
Well, privately, I did something for you, Jim, at the podcast that nobody except for 3 others knew, because we were trekking an hour and 15 minutes one way just to get there. Is we noticed that when we took our medication across the street where we should legally, that the people that own the business behind us so appreciate, because it goes right through their vents. They've told us so many times. When we stopped pulling out our medication, and when we stopped freely just unloading it to every person in that circle of 15 deep or however many were, and we looked directly at the patients, directly at the people that were there every week, the people that help you pack up, the people that are there on time. When we decided to wait and smoke with our fellow patients, how about we truly noticed, and we're taking note, that more than half of those people quit showing up. And that, Tony, is where Porch Monkey came from, because we were allowed to sit on the porch by ourselves that day, to where normally the vultures would sit there, wait for us to quit talking, go across the street, and then take up our medicine. And that's what I'm going to say about that. Thank you, vultures, for not coming if you're not going to be a true advocate.
Don't mess with us today. We're trashing everyone. I'm telling you.
I'm just speaking the truth, because I know how hard I work. I know that the police in my town are more educated about marijuana because of me.
Yes.
I brought them breakfast the other day because I had an officer actually tell the bar manager that had, 100 people drunk that could have got DUIs at the end of the bar. I need to medicate, so can I went to the owner. I normally am only there at lunchtime, so being there at night was odd for me. And I said, I'm not going to go out to your deck with your other people smoking and drinking. I'm just going to go to the other end of the building. And the owner looked at me and said, Jesse, do you think even if I could, or if I whatever, I'd tell you no? And I was like, no, Jerry, thank you. Seth, the bar manager, proceeds to come out to the end of the building, freak out. I give him the Kuma guidelines because I have them with me always. I give him a website. He's on his phone. He's reading it. He's screaming in my face, telling me, right here, it says, blah, 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 whatever it said. I said, Seth, you need to calm down. You need to read that a little bit
Step one.
slower.
Have the officer
and then
calm
God
down.
bless me with
I
an
can
officer.
understand the little slower part, too.
Well, an officer
Commas
just
and
happened to
periods.
pull up. Dad just happened to be doing his drive-through, waiting on his DUIs to catch when everybody was leaving. He had his window rolled down, and I had a blunt in my hand. I said, hold on, Seth. We'll get this cleared up right now.
When do you not have a blunt in your hand, Jesse?
Probably never. I
Never.
wouldn't be able to walk. I wouldn't be able to do anything, and I'm
This
a
is
single
true.
woman.
This is true because you are a patient in New Jersey and you are suffering.
Yeah, people think it just because I wear high heels, nothing's wrong with me. What they don't understand, orthopedic shoes do the same thing in an ugly way. They just keep the weight off my back, and that's all the reason for high heels. Yeah, and they make my legs look longer. Who gives a rat's? But what I was saying is that when that officer came by, I put my blunt out, and I looked at him. I said, Officer, I don't have to, but out of respect for you, I'm going to put my medicine out. And I said, can you please tell him, this is after he has the entire patio staring at me, singling me out, to the point where people are hanging over the railings to see what's going to happen. Sorry, it upsets me because I've already beat the state of New Jersey because I am a patient. It only took 5 years and $150,000, 4 judges, 5 prosecutors, 3 attorneys. Mr. Buckman, my second, got killed by the mafia. God rest his soul. But the cop says, I said, officer, if I'm a patient, here's my card. Can you please let him know that I'm allowed to medicate and that I politely chose to medicate not around all the drunken idiots that are smoking on the bar, but I came out here singled out already by myself in a black, dark corner of a building. Can you let him know that it's okay for me to be medicating? And he had his arm out the window. God bless Officer Smith. And he said, Seth, they changed the laws so fast and they're not the next morning. And so there's hope.
On that note, I want to know more about how the podcast is insulting to women.
Yeah.
Well, it
And who said that?
it was when it became clear that
Bless you.
that the people that actually had something to say hadn't watched the podcast this year. So, yeah, I know, right?
I don't even know what to say to that.
I know. So anyway, at one point it was decided, well, maybe I should just be more specific. You know, in other words, like what name, a comment in particular, please, that was objectionable. You're going to have to go back and find some for me to have any kind of response or even to understand what one would be talking about.
And I'm sure you could cherry pick little comments here and there.
No, yeah, there is. But then all of a sudden, Tony, it hit me. No, I'm not going to spend my time going back, looking over something to validate what we do. I'm not going to do it. I explained that after the first year, and Lefty will tell you how true this is, I was extremely reluctant to do a second year. I really didn't want to. I did not want to, and I explained why, and it was because you know we hadn't had 3 hours worth of good podcasts. We hadn't had two.
Yeah.
We were below the 50% line virtually the whole first year.
We had never done this before.
And I said that my disappointment was I didn't think we really got better, not appreciably, and then I agreed that I would do it for April, and see if we could get better, and we need to get better, and it was actually better than I had hoped for. April showed certainly enough to say, that's it, I'm in for the year. And there were days when we'd look at each other and say, that was a good podcast. And it was a good day because we rubbed elbows with people you want to rub elbows with.
Exactly.
We might have had a couple of scoops. Roseanne Scotty of the DPA, New Jersey, coming out of a meeting. Roseanne, come over here, please.
Breaking
and tell us
news.
all the time. And you never knew when Gov was going to come by. And that was always fun. And we entertained and had the cones up and, that sort of thing. But we also started being on topic more. Maybe it's a little easier now because there's so much to talk about, so much going on. And so the idea for me was I get to say, no, let's look at it this way. We need to be talking about Laura Barber, her fundraiser, things like that we need to talk about. I'm not going to waste any of my time validating anything.
And you're talking about the sexism, right?
And Ken said, I've been there virtually every one I could be at all year and made it a point to try to stay at least an hour, and I never once heard any remark that sounds anything remotely like that. And I'm saying, yeah, so this is like Ken. You think we're in cahoots there and we're going to go tell dirty jokes when we get off,
Can I tell you a personal story about the accusations being made and how I almost didn't come back to the podcast because of the individual that made those accusations?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I know you don't want to marinate on it, but thank God, Jim, for you and Lefty, because you guys are the reason I stayed involved, and you guys are what got me through my case. You guys.
Well,
I wonder if she hears that. Our friend, our hater.
Well, the hater, she personally shamed me because when you
Really?
guys were out there, a different march. We were in Camden. It was my first activism march. I have pictures and stuff. And I said, instead of having to tell my story to all these people that are here, let me jump up on a picnic table. I want to make it mad. And I just said, hi, my name's Jessie. This is my story. This is why I'm here.
Right.
And she was the one there organizing that event.
Oh, no. You jumped out.
Well, I didn't know. I was just trying to be involved, but that's also where NJ Weedman.
You became number one for a second. That can't happen. That's no good.
No. It was what
that
I've
it?
witnessed all my life, and I don't care who you are, what you say, but if you get to know me, you'll know my feet can get dirty, and I'm the nicest person in the world.
Oh, I know.
But this person just judged a book by its cover, and I've been dealing with that my entire life. So if they want to talk about shaming, sexism, whatever, because I was the skinny girl, sorry, my mom cried every day until she was out of college because she tried to eat and gain weight and couldn't. Like, excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm just...
This woman doesn't know what she's talking about. She has vaginas on her page right now. Look at her Facebook page. There's
I know what she
vaginas
said.
on her
I don't
page.
care what's on her page. I know what her character is and how she treated me.
I'm putting a 30-second countdown clock on. I'm going to let you go for 30 seconds, and I'm going to say...
Well, I just want you to know I don't think you
Michelle,
guys are
what went on
sexist.
today? I haven't heard
Michelle, please talk to us.
Yeah,
everything about what went on today.
Yeah, today was horrible.
From a woman's point of view.
Absolutely nothing went on. I got nothing.
Well,
What do you mean?
What
What?
was it
Well, I had
that
to
you
come
did
back.
today?
We went to the police department and we asked for my marijuana back. And
How many times have you been there? I'm going to interject so we get.
I
we
don't
get the-
even know. I went there.
Give me a guess. What do you think? You've been there like 6 times, 7 times?
Well, myself.
Put it in so I can see. You want headphones?
Yeah.
It's nice with headphones.
There you go. Sorry about that. I want to be able to see you.
So, okay.
Michelle Burns in the house.
For the one person that might be watching that doesn't know what this is about, Michelle is an MS patient who is a registered medical marijuana patient in New Jersey who went to a hospital to be a patient at the hospital, or
I admitted myself into the hospital.
admitted
Went to the
herself
emergency
into the
room.
hospital and had her legal medical cannabis with her. And then the nutshell version would be they asked you if there was any. How did they find this out? And
They asked me if I had anything illegal on me. And I said, I have my medical marijuana, but I have a license for that. And they laughed at me.
Shit.
So after that, I just was a mess. I was doing an MS attack. And I was just, flaring around like a
so,
MS
but why how would they know that you even had that with you? I mean, that would have been in a purse or a pocketbook or something. It's the curious beginning to it that people would wonder about. Well, how did it become an issue? In other words, did they said, "Let me look through your purse or your pocketbook"?
No, well, they didn't ask to look through my pocket. They took it away from me and put it wherever.
But how did they know you had it?
I told them I had it.
Oh, they asked,
Yeah,
or
they
did
asked
you
me.
just volunteer it so there wouldn't be a problem?
No, I didn't volunteer. They asked me. As far as I remember, they asked me. And then,
They asked you, "Do you have any marijuana?"
no, they asked me if I have anything illegal on me.
That's an odd question when you're checking yourself into
Well,
a
if you're,
hospital.
check
I've been in
yourself-
hospitals more than a few times in the last 5 years, and nobody ever asked me, "Do you have any illegal drugs or anything on you like that?" I find that curious.
Well, they did, and
Yeah.
I told them what I had, and I told them I had a license for it,
Yeah.
and they laughed at me, and I told them, no, I do. And after that, I went into the hospital for like 4 days. They
Which
remember-
hospital?
Bayonne Hospital.
Okay.
I didn't remember.
Take that, Bayonne Hospital.
Yeah, right.
You're on notice.
But
So I just wanted to back it up for. So then the police then got a hold of it.
no, it was the nurses were going around telling me that they knew I smoked marijuana, and they said that they destroyed my marijuana. I said, "What do you mean they destroyed
And
it?"
they laughed at you too.
Not the nurses. The nurses didn't.
Oh, they didn't.
Not them. Not in the when I was back in the with the beds are. They didn't laugh at me. The one nurse knew who I was because I've been to the hospital many times, and she knew I smoked marijuana, and she asked me if I had it on me. I said no. I had it in my belongings. Can I have my phone because I want a number, and can I have my pocketbook so I go through it for my deodorant and stuff. So they gave me the pocketbook and everything. Go through it. I said, "Where's my marijuana?" And they said, "Well, the head nurse took that." I said, "Where's the head nurse?" The head nurse not until whenever he was going to be in. I didn't know exactly what day it was. So when I left, when I was leaving, I asked the head nurse, "Where's my marijuana?" And he said I had to give it to the police. I said, "Why?" My doctor even yelled at you guys. They said, "Let her have her marijuana back." After I found out the marijuana was missing, they said, "Give her marijuana back."
And it was a small amount.
It was a very small amount.
Okay. So I mean, it wasn't like.
That wasn't a pound. Or
I mean, it wasn't anything they would have been alarmed and just about
No,
the amount. It was a personal possession, obvious
Yeah.
amount. Anyway, so
don't walk around that much, but I do walk the shop right for my family for the food. And I go past there almost every day. And I ask them for it, and they told me, I'm sorry, you have to talk to the prosecutor. And it was like that for a very long time until Lefty came one time. I never saw the woman ever, but when Lefty came, she came out, and I finally saw her for the first time. And she said she has to speak to the prosecutor. So she said when the prosecutor calls her, she'll call me and let me know. Well, we went to the prosecutor yesterday, and they said they called her. She never let me know that.
Who at the prosecutor's office did you talk to?
Did you get a name?
Kelly Sisk.
Yeah. She's
Agent. She's an agent of the.
Oh, an agent.
Of the
So
prosecutor.
she said that everything was clear for you to get your medicine, and the lady just never called you.
She said that as far as she was concerned, she wasn't concerned with Bayonne. That's what Bayonne's problem. They could figure
And it's a
out what to do
personal thing now within the police station, which they don't have authority.
Right. The prosecutor wants nothing to do with this. They
It
said.
want nothing to do with that at all.
So you should have it back, correct?
I went there today, and they told me I had to have the numbers that were on the pouch, and I said I had to go in my pocketbook and see. I mean, I'm going
What numbers for your medicine, or
for the medicine. Medicine had numbers on top of the pouch. But if you're digging around my pocketbook, a sticker's going to fall off no matter what. I swear it was inside, but I don't really know. I don't know that day what it was. So I mean,
So it doesn't have the numbers on
they
it.
have the number, correct?
they have everything. I gave them a receipt.
So if they have a pouch like that, they should have that number on it.
No,
They don't have the sticker.
They don't have the sticker on it.
They couldn't find the
They
sticker.
couldn't, I
That
couldn't-
was the
So how about
problem.
I just rip
Yeah, that
off
was the
this
problem.
barcode and you give them this barcode?
But they
I
can.
have ones like that in my own house.
Then rip them off, girl, and say, I found it. Sorry, it went through the laundry.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Where there's a will, there's this one will get you around it.
I could just bring it in all my jars and say, here, I have all my jars, all my.
You did. You
pouches
gave her a
like that.
receipt of all your
I gave
purchases.
receipts of my
It's
purchases.
a small amount of medicine. It's not even a large amount. This is what gets under my skin. It's like, let go of the rope, guys. Not you.
I would like
them.
to go with you the next time. I really would.
Okay.
I just want to go. You
We're
know
going
how
tomorrow.
I like.
Maybe today. You want to hear a clip?
I don't know if they're in tomorrow. I have to find that paper.
All right. We'll call them. We're gonna
From
call
the
them from the
other
podcast. Let's listen. Here, listen to this. I can't explain it. Let's listen to this woman.
Seeing if I can pick up my handbook.
I told you I would call you. I heard from the AP, and here's what he said. Being that it wasn't in a properly marked container, we have to do a follow-up investigation, and they need proof that that was the marijuana that you purchased.
Okay.
Medical marijuana.
How'd she get that?
I don't know. That's what we're in a, that's why I didn't call you, because we're trying to figure that out. As
Okay.
far as we're concerned, that could have been marijuana bought on the street.
They're gonna test
Okay.
it. They're
So
gonna
test it. Why don't they test it?
and-
Well, you want me to send it to the lab, it's gonna take, even more time, but that's what we'll do. It is, but it wasn't properly marked.
Jesse, what?
You did this on
What?
You did this to me on purpose, girl. We're going to get your weed. And that lady right there, everything she just said, she violated so many of your civil and constitutional rights in your private state
Can you believe this crap?
Mm-hmm. Because I dealt with it for 5.5 years and spent every dime I had, and I didn't eat because
So
of
what's
assholes like her.
what's the next step then?
The next step is we
pragmatic.
take our little happy butts there with a printout from both the state of New Jersey's CUMA guidelines, both what a police station is allowed, and I'd have to look into it not to investigate, because if a prosecutor says they're not interested in it, then it's all on Bayonne. The people above you that had to say so to take it to court have already said they don't want nothing to do with it. You need to request a letter, a printout from them, because that's hearsay if you just tell them. You walk in there with that letter, or you type the letter yourself, and you have them sign it and certified right there. You take someone who's a notary with you. There's a lot of people I know. You might know someone. And have the prosecutor notarize the letter that they don't want nothing to do with it. You have a copy of the dispensary where you bought your medication.
Yes.
You can say multiple things could have happened to it. The bag could have ripped. It's not your fault for packaging. It's not your requirement to set the standards. And then from that point forward, if they say no, you can sue the wretch shit out of these people.
Have you been to a city council meeting?
That's next. And the mayor's office
Oh,
is
I would.
next.
Yeah, you have to. Well, the chief should have been
Well,
on this
start-
from day
you-
one.
but
Chief is supposed to decide on
you do
this.
have now the city.
he has no
when,
decision.
When the city council meeting is,
Wednesdays.
Wednesdays.
whenever it
Soon.
is,
You have to go
whenever,
to them on before
That letter is
Wednesday.
key.
whenever you do this, if you want to save yourself a little bit of time, alert the members of the council individually. Here's what we're going to be discussing. Give them pretty much what you're going to say.
And the copy of
ahead
the
of
letter
time,
that the
because-
prosecutor signed, so they know you're not BSing because it's hearsay, correct?
Well, you want to like lay it in their lap and keep reminding them it's a small amount. It makes it look vindictive. There's no real good reason to keep up the fight. It's not like it's not like Michelle's gonna get away with something because it really wasn't from a dispensary. Got you. That's not the issue.
Yeah.
But they don't care about that. I found that in their eyes, they are droned out and they say everything has to be Mr. Buckman, rest in peace.
Right, and that's
Wait
what
till you hear this, Jesse.
That's what they're gonna say.
Before I hear that, Mr. Buckman said, Jesse, it does not matter if a prosecutor makes you an agreement, if someone says, oh, we're going to drop this charge or that charge, everything in black and white. And then if you have it black and white certified, and then now you have your video on top of it, you're building your case already. An attorney's going to say, holy moly donut shop, you're this prepared already. And if they refuse, I think if I were you, I would talk to a couple attorneys, y'all know some, I know some, get a letter drafted with the prosecutor's letter and say, if you do not release this patient with a copy of your card, with a copy of what you've bought from the dispensary, you know, you've got to get them at every turn. Then if you do not release this medication from this day forward, we will be moving forward with whatever the lawyer, because he knows the law,
exactly.
you know, standards are, which I would personally think there would be multiple here because they're messing with a disabled person, which that violates the Americans with Disability Act, which is federal and also state. And they're also messing with you, giving you the runaround because I sat in court for 3 times, didn't I, Lefty? Yeah. And not one person of a courtroom of people wrapped around outside stood up for their rights. I'm the only one that did, and I'm the only one that won.
Well, here, you want to get mad? Listen to the rest of this.
Yeah. I heard from the AP, and here's what he said. Being that it wasn't in a properly marked container, we have to do a follow-up investigation. And they need proof that that was the marijuana that you purchased.
Okay, how'd she get that?
I don't know. That's what we're in.
I don't know.
That's why the court
We want proof. What will you accept?
Wait a minute.
I don't know.
Wait. Why is my medication like this? It's a Ziploc bag with a rubber band around it. You know why?
We want
Jim.
proof.
Is it fresh?
Jim, I can't
We
grab
want proof.
Okay.
How will she get it? What kind of proof? I don't know.
Well, guess what, lady? You haven't met me yet.
Oh
Miss Jessica
my.
Nicole Sanders is going to roll tide on you, honey.
Well,
and we're
look,
going to do it in a very corporate,
You know, while this
manner.
is all well and good, and I'd say fun, but I'm sure it's not fun.
It's not.
What's her name?
My point about what's next is when we're done with, well, now we'll come back with this, and when do you bypass that? What is the next?
The chief.
The next city council. The chief.
And the city council. He'll be at this.
The
He'll be
city
there.
council is chief's boss.
He'll be there. So.
They're his boss. Yeah.
That lady just looks retarded. I'm going to say it out loud. She just looks like she don't know what to
Jesse.
say.
No.
Retarded,
We don't
not...
say that word.
No, we don't.
Well, I'm sorry. Retarded people take
We
it
don't
as a
say
mental
that
illness.
word.
Well,
We don't.
I'm explaining myself if I said it.
All right, don't
I don't
say it
mean
again.
retarded.
Don't say
R
it again.
word.
Stop saying it.
I don't mean R as in handicap because
Jesus
I
Christ.
myself am handicapped. I myself work with people with disabilities, and my kids with disabilities
I
say they want
myself
to take.
know a cluster of people
Yes.
that don't
They
give
s-
a flying anything
I know.
about
I got to be able to
that.
defend
I know.
myself.
They
If you're going
hear
to talk
the
shit.
word, and
I know that my
you know.
handicapped kids want that word taken away from them because they say just because they have a disability doesn't make them R.
Thank you.
Sir,
Thank you. I'm just following protocol on the show. That's all.
what's protocol on the show?
We don't use the R word.
I didn't know. Where's the list of what we can?
Well,
do?
after he said it once, twice, 3 times, that was a good indicator. You know, you got to
Lefty
pick.
says a lot of shit to me.
Are we allowed to call them monkeys?
Yeah, are we? Can we? I don't know what that was. We're having a safari now.
Back to Lieutenant Sullivan. Okay. So test it.
I love you,
Want to test
tie-dye.
it?
Well, if you want to resend it to the lab, it's going to take, even more time, but that's what we'll do.
This is so silly.
It is, but it wasn't properly marked. It is
It
silly.
was marked.
was marked. It was in there.
It wasn't.
It wasn't until they took it out of the pouch.
Yeah, they-
The label was on there.
The label is
No,
in there.
nothing.
The label's
It's
full
nothing
up.
with taking it. We know we can't take it if it's. If
Because
it's
these labels
clearly
fall
marked.
off. They rub off. They fall
I know,
off.
but it wasn't in that.
No, it was in the pouch.
It was
Yeah,
in
but
a-
they give you
a
labels. They
wine.
give you these labels to
Extra
put on
labels
other
to put on like a
things.
dog
It wasn't on there.
Because they went through my whole entire pocket.
see
book.
smoke
It's a piece of
coming out
paper.
of her
They took it
ears.
off. They didn't mean to take it off, it just fell off.
It's not on. It's not.
Well, they should've took it
He wouldn't
anyway.
have taken it if it was clearly
I'm gonna
marked.
get your
he wouldn't have
medicine,
taken
honey.
it.
Don't you
That's what I'm
worry.
saying.
Go for it. Watch me.
So,
This lady
look,
right
they
here,
all-
in her ignorance and her running over herself with non-educated answers.
Yeah.
I didn't pay over $150,000 to be the first person on the books to win, to have someone treat a woman like you with a cane that's been multiple times.
Running you around, jumping through hoops.
Powerless. This
Yeah.
woman is powerless.
Give her a mic. Yeah, powerless is right.
Here, tie-dye,
Powerless is right.
This woman that
Are you
were
going to
meeting
introduce your
today is
guest?
absolutely powerless. She is not capable of doing anything. As I was watching this happening live, that was the first thing that screamed right at me, was this woman is literally powerless. And because she's powerless, she's deferring. I have to go to my lieutenant or my chief. Okay, now think about the hierarchy of what's going on here. Who are you dealing with? Okay, you're dealing at the level with whom you were instructed. This is the entry point to where you will get your information, which is not true because they're giving you the messenger. Okay, shooting this woman is like shooting the messenger. She's a monkey. She's just another part of the machine. Now, my issue with this whole thing is that this is a machine we're talking about here. This is a great big motherfucking political stuck pig machine that is just out of control.
Amen.
All right, now I'm forgive me for using the P word because I don't want people to think I think that they're pigs because I don't. I think they're monkeys.
Drones.
We have not yet seen any sentient thinking from these people. They are machines.
But this is a very good point. We've never really seen much else other than what you're describing. As I've seen, how many times Lefty's gone and tried to educate the police.
I don't know.
It really
have you ever
shouldn't
been
be.
pulled over by a cop that was
shouldn't.
just doing his job, just checking your wallet or checking your papers, just out of a random thing, and then just giving you a whole bunch of shit for nothing?
I was profiled regularly for a 3-year period of my
Yeah,
life.
so
So when
you
I
know
say
what-
profiled, I know I'm a Caucasian who would blend into the woodwork if not for the clothes that I wear. I had a van and a beard and
dang hippie.
long hair in
hippies.
1975, 76,
What do
and
you mean, hippie?
77. I was stopped more times than I could
Dang hippies
than I
are
could
overtaken.
believe. You know, it was regular. I didn't know what profiling was.
Well, I
then.
got
Well, I
stopped
mean,
just
at
the
that
other
said,
night.
I'm trying to explain the level of mentality we're dealing with.
No, there is, but
If
it's
you strip back
it,
all of the mechanics of
so
what's going on with this
this
machine,
is why I agree, and why we need a next step, because as you would probably agree, more of the same there is going to get more of the same in return
Well,
for the reasons you just described. It's not going to change the next time
well,
back
I
either.
come from a really long background of computer engineering
And she's
and
awesome.
design. And
she wears
one of the
tie-dye.
things that I'm quite familiar with is just how machines run. Okay, when I see this thing, if I zoom out to 40,000 feet and I watch a bunch of, this is like the whole political arena. It's just one group of monkeys exciting another group of monkeys. That's it. If you zoom out really far and you can't tell we're humans, that's really all it looks like. Okay?
Amen.
Now, when you're looking at this thing with law enforcement, that machine, that particular machine is very stupid
Dark.
and dark, and they don't have an agenda outside of their own.
Outside of the how much more militarized equipment can we get? Well, look what they did to Camden.
No, they're deferring constantly. It's always going to the next guy up. It's always to the next guy. I'm powerless. I can't do anything
Which
at this
is
level.
which is
I have to go
Isn't
to
that every
and
town
now
council?
what are we facing? The federal government. Okay, whatever
Yeah.
we do at a state level isn't going to amount to a hill of beans until the federal government rolls.
I feel like we need to say a prayer on that note. That's very true.
I mean, I'm over here thinking to myself every time I hear about this, what's going on, and I listen to your podcast, I'm just befuddled by why we're fighting still. I don't know why we don't just
Do you ever hear us make disparaging remarks towards women when you watch the podcast?
never. I've never
Okay.
heard that.
Thank
I'm
you.
just
I'm
there.
Thank
just
you, Wink.
saying,
Thank you,
know.
Wink.
The only people that are making those comments are the people
Yeah,
accusing
I'm
you.
just
I
saying.
was one of the
No,
great.
Not to take it right, but I think you're dead on in what you're saying.
Yeah.
What
You
I'm
can
saying is you can go back again, and why not? It's not like, doesn't look like it's a tough assignment if you can physically get there, and it's okay to get in and out, and not real demanding. So why not? But it's that next step that I like. It's if they're going to defer to somebody above, then
Well,
for
if you-
Lefty and Michelle to go to a town council meeting to their boss's boss's boss.
Go right in there to their boss's
And-
boss's boss,
and
like
to-
we
and
did at
to let-
Redline.
And to let them know, basically, to get this into a linear chronology, that's really slash and burned down to something understandable, and make sure the city council or town council members get a copy of it before they show up. You have your say. Now it's a matter of public record, and this is the story that sounds bad for all those reasons. I think the right thing prepared to hand them before speaking it as a matter of record could be really devastating. It's going to be some bad PR one
I
way
just
or
have
the
the
other.
Rocky theme music in my head. You're going to do it, Jim. We're going to do it, and we're going to do it just like we did
May
the
I,
PTSD thing.
may I help and assist in the writing of that? That when you put this, see, basically what I was asking you to tell me, it's good, and it's a terrible story for them. But if you can get to a council meeting and speak, and have a 90-second version of that, and then they can ask questions and you can answer them. But what you say becomes a matter of record, and then quotes. You have quotes implanted. I mean, you write that with. I write good. Really, just get something together and let me help you work with it, and it won't take long. And that's where you start to be effective when they're watching, because shit rolls downhill for them. And you just got to go a little higher up the hill, but you let them know you're coming first. And this is a program that our governor calls strictly medical. He blames the low enrollment in our program on that it's such a tightly controlled medical program, which means they're messing with your medicine.
Yeah, Lieutenant Sullivan's really...
I had my license in front of them. They saw my license, and they just thought it was a joke.
Yeah, they laughed at
No,
him.
they laughed at the hospital. They laughed at me.
I wasn't there. I don't know.
The hospital laughed at me, and so I think this is, everybody thinking it's a big joke. It's
No,
not a
I don't
joke.
think it's a
Yeah,
joke.
she's double victimized here.
Trust me. I want to get rid of it.
Okay, give it to her. She'll take it.
I can't, as a police officer, I just can't hand back.
I want to get rid of it, she says? Really?
I think she wants to take it
doesn't
home
wanna get
because
rid of it.
her
She
youngins
can't get
probably
rid of
calm
it.
her the hell down.
Yeah, she's powerless.
Real
This
talk, I
woman
think-
is just
Put on
totally
other-
incapable of doing anything here. If you watch her and her whole body posture and just back up and look at the way she's behaving, this woman is just...
She's looking for a way out.
She can't do anything. If she could do it, I mean, twisting,
She
you could have
clearly doesn't
twisted her
wanna be there.
nipples and she wouldn't have done anything.
She could be more of a human and stand up and say, listen,
I hadn't
don't
thought of that.
I'm not capable. This is what I'm talking about.
Yes, ma'am.
The police
This is
force
what they
is
were
a
talking
machine.
about.
They are inorganic. It is not anything capable of feeling anything. I mean, these people are trained not to feel.
But my
because they
fa-
have to go by
Robot.
protocol.
I am a robot.
That's it.
But I'll say it used to
You
not
will
always
suffer.
be that way.
You
My
will
dad
suffer.
is a
I
fallen
must
officer.
talk to my chief.
Just doing my job.
You know, it's something that's become that machine. In Camden, they fired a friend of mine.
No, I don't think it's a
Yeah,
joke.
she's double victimized here.
Trust me. I want to get rid of it.
Okay, give it to her. She'll take it.
My question is, I want to know the chief. Let's go talk to him. Let's all
After
just
we go to
roll
the
right
pros-
into the chief's office. Hello, we're waiting for the call.
Well, let's call her first.
I say we
Somebody
get the letter
please
from the
call.
prosecutor first to bring to the chief so that the chief can't sit there with the deer in headlight looks and schmamble over his words. So we already have the letter, chief. There's no need for you to pick the phone up and call. We got it notarized so you know it's legit and not real. If you'd like to call, here's the prosecutor's business card. Now, what are we waiting on? By the way, here's a copy of the Kuma guidelines, and by the way, here are the discrimination laws. We now have video, audio, and if you want us to roll tide, we sure will. We sure will. We could civilly sue everybody that you've spoken to and the whole entire
She
department.
has a license, though.
Just saying, I got an
But this
attorney.
wasn't marked. I'm going to check with the chief. I just checked. They're not in yet.
But she's
And the
got 2
chief's
months without
eating
medicine.
donuts.
2 months. She can't afford to go out
Show
like
me
this.
your purchase, that you did purchase that.
So you come in with a
I
receipt?
gave you
They gave
paperwork. I
me
gave you
this.
receipts.
You gave
And the
me this.
license. I thought they'd have the
What is that?
pouch.
I say if you
She
go in
told
there,
them exactly what you guys needed. She said
They
it
know.
exactly. You gave them the phone number. They needed to. She needed to say, "Just wait a minute. I'll go in and I'll do the phone call."
Yeah, I
That's
wish
it.
She
would've
should have
said
done
that.
it right there in the spot.
Yes,
Instead of
ma'am.
standing there
Yes,
wasting
ma'am.
anybody's
I know.
time, much less her own.
Yeah.
Okay?
Especially a
Let's
disabled
just get
person.
back to this machine. She's not functioning very well. She's a bad cog in this.
Maybe she
mess.
needs an oil change.
She just needs,
She needs
to
her
get
pipes
her
cleaned.
job done. Somebody needed to tell her to go do her job. She's investigating. She needs to go in there and do the job.
She was
You
hoping it
gave her
went
the
away.
phone number.
That's
call
why we have to
them.
do it for
She'll
her.
get the information. They needed that piece of, the receipt of the purchase that you made.
I gave them that. They had that. She has it in front of her face. She has how much I purchased for that month.
She didn't want to know what that. Was clear that wasn't enough. She was
yeah.
clear she wanted to see the purchase of what you had in your hand
We gonna
in that
fix this for
container.
you.
I don't know. That's what I got
I
out
can
of
call
it.
break order.
No,
and
what we're
ask
gonna do
them
is
for
we're gonna
rec-
have the. Is it
It's
close
not-
to your house? I don't know.
None of this is close to my
Okay,
house.
well, what they could do is we can go to my local, any place where the fax machine, my library, they can fax
No,
your.
I do. They do email you. The
Oh, do they?
receipt.
See, I'm old
All I have to
school.
do is go on my,
Email, print it out.
print it out, and say,
We need to draw up a letter, though, for the prosecutor as to what the words the prosecutor said. Go in there, let the prosecutor now know that you're still having issues and trouble. You're getting nowhere. Now it's becoming effective on your day-to-day
Wait a minute.
quality of care.
Are you sending us back to the prosecutor?
No, I'm
I'll
not going
take
back to the
I'll
hospital.
take my happy ass up in there and do it myself. And I'm gonna get them to sign this letter that's gonna get notarized right then and there when they sign it. And I'm gonna come on the behalf of you, and you're gonna give me a letter because they're not gonna deal with me unless I have the letter. And then you're gonna get your script records, and then we're gonna take this prosecutor letter. We're gonna take them script records that show where you purchased it. We're gonna show them an empty bottle, a bottle. I'm sure you got one hanging around somewhere.
Tons of them.
Of course,
The
we all
original
do.
bottle that
Yeah,
you
but we
said
could
you
say
couldn't- you may not
you're
be
gonna
able
take-
to find.
you're gonna
I
take
have
the
lots of labels on jars.
No, but on your jars, you're gonna smear them. You're gonna rub them. You're gonna show how they come off.
Oh,
You're gonna take.
Lefty already did that.
You're gonna take these in here. It's a whole mass production thing you have to do at
Yeah.
one time, like we did at Red Line. At Red Line, they even after we were told what we could do, we had officers coming out of the police station, telling us, "You can't do that here." Don't tell me no.
You
Because real talk, my dad got killed in the line of duty in '94. Solely, he could have been the machine and taken back that car because he was off duty after working 2 shifts. But instead, he decided to save the man's life that was getting held up at gunpoint over that he got coffee from every morning. Ends up getting shot, dies, blah, 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 blah. That's when Chicago was at its worst. They're wanting to call Chicago Chirac now. Well, back then, he had a beater Buick. I don't know why I'm telling you all this, probably because he's going to be with us when we go to that police station. But a beater Buick with a club on it that was all rusted out that would still get stolen out of the police lot. And he was putting his life on the line for people like us. Those people don't exist because those people got fired, such as in Camden. They took a man that I know that worked 19 years with 2 children, getting ready for his retirement, and said, F you and F everybody else on this place because we're going to bring in a new drone type of system that people don't care about because Camden's low income.
Well, here, we got a drone here in Bayonne. Here's a Bayonne drone. Listen to this.
Purchase the medical marijuana.
She has this. That's it. That's all I have.
That's what they give me.
Okay, but you know what I'm saying?
But she's a sick woman. She shouldn't have to be running around to Jersey
Did
City
she get more? Why are you
Keep
running
paying
to
more
Jersey
money.
to
City?
talk to the prosecutor.
All right, but I'm waiting to hear from them. I told you. I
No,
filled
they-
in
She's
the-
dying.
How many times did I call you back? Several.
Not enough,
But I did.
apparently.
Yeah. I was working on it. And
She's
I am.
dying. She needs help. She needs compassion from you guys, not double victimization.
You're not going to find anybody more compassionate.
Give her her medicine back, please.
I just can't hand it back.
Yes, you
I have
can.
to go to
You
next
can.
and sit there and ask.
You really
This
can.
is
Show
stupid
me, this is purchase period, okay?
Yeah.
Where do you buy this anyway?
now. That's from breakwater, I think.
Where?
Breakwater.
Where's Breakwater?
And
Cranberry.
And you buy it in Cranberry?
Yeah.
there's a few
Is
dispensers.
she-
that the closest place?
No, Woodbridge is
Woodbridge, but
Woodbridge?
yeah.
Okay. Is there anything that says that you bought it? See, because this says purchase period. And when was this report?
Well, the state police can check that. The ROIC.
9/16.
Can't the ROIC do that?
Let's just call the back of my card.
Yeah, they can call the back of the card and find out. Takes 5
I don't
minutes.
have the packet.
I'll give you the card.
Tell them.
I have my card. You can.
Oh, you mean that?
The ROIC.
ROIC?
Yeah, call them. They'll tell you when she bought it. They'll give you all that information.
I'm trying. I will call them today, and I'll call you back, and your number is on here. Let me call them today. Let me find out, because this was on 9/16. So it says
Yeah,
purchase
exactly.
period, oh, amount remaining, all right. And I don't know any other, how am I gonna find out that that was purchased there? If I send it
lab.
Okay, I'm dead serious. If that is exactly what they do, what she said. Now, I don't believe that they're going to spend the money to do it because it's not
How?
a criminal investigation. Because when
How can they prove that she bought that at a dispensary?
First of all, that's a lie. They cannot.
They can't.
All that is word vomit to get you to shut the HEWCYL up. And for anybody that doesn't know what that is, that's how we cuss in the South and don't cuss in church. And so shut the HEWCYL up. And then when you come in there, and it's video logged of everything you've already done, audio logged, and then you come in there with a stack of we got you paperwork because it's passed almost 10 years ago, then if they continue at that point to not release your medicine immediately, you can sue them on maybe four different. I should have been a lawyer in my life, but I didn't like those books. But they've now violated your Americans with Disability Act. They've violated your
Both them and the hospital.
continuity of care. They violated. What if you died? What if you died? Like, what if she was Nick's Matt? Sorry. What if she was Nick's father, Matt, who I helped roguely, and his body got donated to science to the federal government because all of a sudden he got these random tumors all over everywhere, and I saw this man, and the medicine was doing zero for him. I know you used to be a big smoker, and my dad's really sick. Is there anything you could do maybe? He didn't say it like that because he's a sweetheart. Love you, Nick. But I saw this man in a gray room. Isn't it crazy when life leaves you? And I don't want this to be you if they keep your medicine, not saying it would be. But this man with cancer on hospice sat up. He hit the vape pen a couple times, sat up. All the color came into his body. He looked at his son and said, "Could you get me a glass of water? I want to try and drink something." He's talking to Tony, shooting the shit about something. I don't know, because Tony and me rode down there together. Hadn't seen me in 5.5 years. And the next thing you know, he grabs the glass of water mid-conversation, doesn't even think about it, chugs the whole glass of water, and sat it down. And about 2 seconds later, he just looked around the room and said, "Y'all just see what I did?" We were like,
Yeah, right.
you know, we did. And of course, I'm doing some random crazy shit. And then all of a sudden, his best friend Gordon walks in, Gordo, and he's able to sit down and give him the news because he had told no one the news. It just came on him that fast.
Yeah, right.
And that's why the government, they only accept 15 bodies a year, and he's one of them. And like that day, I would have never told you he would have passed away 3 days later, 4 days later. I would never thought that. But that cannabis made him able to drink water, not go to the hospital,
Yes.
sit up, have a relationship, and eat soup. I gave him butter. His son was making chicken noodle soup, and the broth with the cannabis butter helped him. So it gave him the best quality of life for the last week and a half of his life. And to the point where he called me and said, "Jesse, out of the entire medical facility, you are the only one that's given me any kind of relief. And I just can't thank you enough."
It's amazing.
And Tony can witness that as well, because I was fortunately sick one of the days after that, and you don't want to be around people sick. So he went out of his way to drive 3 hours because that's how far they were from us.
Yeah.
And that was just out of the kindness of our heart. And now those cannabis cells are sitting on someone's federal table. Get it, police? So you think I can't handle you? I already beat y'all once. It ain't no thing to beat you again. I'm the first person in Gloucester County, Lefty, to be getting off of probation early. The first one and the only
Jesse,
one.
we're going to make a phone call since you're so used to dealing with police.
To the police station?
We're going to call the cops.
Wait. Prep me before you just hit the call number. I need to know. I need to get in mode. Who are we calling about what?
I'm calling Lieutenant.
What station?
Wait. I don't want anybody calling cops from this house.
Okay.
I
Okay.
Tie-dye gets better and better.
You're good. You got it.
I'm sorry.
Not a problem.
I can go outside, but if you don't even want them in your yard, don't. I was like, don't. If you want to call them,
Not
we
a
can call
problem.
them from my house because they know all about me. I mean, I am the girl with the signs in the window. But do you know what happened to my friend, this guy right here I'd like to give tribute to, with talking about police and medical care? His name is Jerry Sweeney. Best human in the world. He passed away last week, and before he got too bad, he had emphysema. Well, he had asthma that went from emphysema to COPD. I always say that's one of those diseases you just see people taking walks and butterflies flying in the background, commercials on. You never see anyone pass away. But he always supported my cannabis movement. He always supported me through my case when my house got raided for growing weed because I couldn't access it. And when I walked into the hospital I took a wheelchair. I blew some balloons up on it. I took a pack of Lay's I bought from the dollar store. Sorry, it's just a little emotional. And I took those signs that we were donating, that Ken gave me, that said common sense, time to use common sense. The what is it, Jim?
Marijuana reform signs.
Yeah, New Jersey marijuana reform signs. And I put that in my lap and just went in there with edibles for him because he was gonna die soon. And we put the sign up in his mirror that you have in every hospital room. And the next day, the doctors, the nurses, head nurse from the nurses station and several nurses, the hospital director, and I don't even know who else came in and said they were going to kick him out of the hospital. They would not send him home with any hospice. And what is this sign all about? And why is it here? And they were so disrespectful and mean to him over a sign that says nothing more than prohibition didn't work. It's time to use common sense. There's no weed leaf on it. There's nothing. And yet there is a throw-up bag that's given out by the hospital with Trump's face on it right next to it. So they threatened to throw a dying man that, when I saw him, looked, he just came right back to his self, his spirits, because he was able to pop a few edible pieces in his mouth, pop some tincture in his mouth, and I'm able to remember this man right here, the most important person in the world to me. But yet, because of a cannabis sign, they have the entire hospital room, but yet guess what they did? They upped his morphine. Did they or did they not?
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, let's give him more morphine. Let's just zoot him right on out.
Morphine will kill you. Marijuana
That's all they wanted. They wanted to stop taking a bed up in their hospital. What is this sign about? Not like the sign was on his door. It's not like the sign could even be visibly seen in his room, because for most times the sink was set back and the mirror was behind the sink. So we just put the sign there. So while he's in his hospital bed, he can get some kind of happiness at looking at that because he supported me. What Lacanal Hospital in Lacanal, PA? Is that how you say it? Lacanal? Lacanal Hospital.
Whack-a-mole. Hospital?
Whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to
You
whack
hit
a
one,
mole,
another
and I
one
said I
pops
wouldn't
up.
do anything until Jerry passed away. But now that he's gone, I don't know, but I really want to go back, and I really want to do something about that.
Well, I got to tell you, when I was in the hospital for 59 days, I educated everybody who came in the room on medical cannabis. And I had William Haney's flag at one point attached to the device that was holding my foot together, the external
And they didn't want to
fixation
kick you
device.
out, did they?
No, they loved it. They really, actually, I educated, and I had my laptop with Cheryl's arrest in Washington in 1998 queued up for YouTube. And I'd say, hey, you want to see something really cool? And I'd start it. And I'd say, yeah, that's me, the guy in the brown hair, and there's a lot more of it in 1998. And then they stop. So whether it was a doctor or a person cleaning the room, they all got an education. And what the doctor who fixed my feet, when he found out about it and found that I wouldn't be eligible, and he's like, why? And I told him, he says, were any
Well, God
doctors
bless your
consulted
hospital.
when they made up this list?
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it help you?
Could you imagine a man that dies 2.5 days later? They tell this to, and they say, we threaten him, and we will not send you home with hospice. And it to the point where his son had to call me and tell me, and I started crying. He's like, no, Jesse, you made my dad the happiest ever, but I can't have you bringing anything. If you come, you got to just come by yourself with no marijuana shirt or nothing on.
We got Jenny in trouble one time, didn't we? Was it with Jax in the hospital?
Yeah.
We walked in with Coalition for Medical Marijuana T-shirts on, 3 people with 3 T-shirts walking through the hospital, and everybody. We had plenty of room in the elevator. Nobody got close, Yeah. But after we left, immediately
Words were said.
And it was an issue because they wanted to know what she had, and she wasn't allowed. And did they take it from her? What happened with that?
Well, you know what's funny? Justin told us to wear nice clothes today to the police station.
Yeah.
And Michelle shows up with the "Don't Shoot on White" shirt, and I'm just like, I love this girl. It's awesome.
We could do that, and then I'll be the girl in
Well,
heels that
I-
takes them and roll tides on them.
Justin has a point. If there was ever going to be something
Need to tie
gained
that
there,
shirt
but as Wink was just saying, there's nothing to be gained
No.
there except for to really make them look bad. It's a matter of record, and then when you take it beyond them, it's like you don't. We didn't just start out at the town council or city council. We were forced here.
We started here,
for
right
this,
here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm telling you.
I know, but
She needs her medicine. This is not like recreational cannabis.
Well,
This
I
is
get it.
for her
I know.
life.
How much I pay for the freaking medicine?
I'm coming for you, Blondie.
It's like,
Let me just go to one more person then
The chief?
yeah, I don't know
All
what
right.
to tell you.
Do we have her name?
Yeah.
I don't even know what time it's
All
going
right,
to be.
good.
Can we call you later?
Yep, yeah, my number,
All right.
6997. I'm trying.
Please
All right.
And it's
leave.
taking up space
I'm
in the-
trying.
I know it is.
I love it.
I'm not taking that.
You can't
Yes.
call me
No,
later
it's-
if you don't
no,
leave.
No, it's in
You
an
should not have her
envelope.
paycheck this
It's
week.
categorized, it's in there, and,
Is it broken?
what?
Is the pipe broken? No.
Nothing's broken.
Everything's intact and there's weed in
Yeah,
it.
however we got it.
Listen to what she says coming up. Watch this.
In the future, I know you say that label's wearing off, but I don't know, they gotta give you another label.
Yes.
No, what they did was go, basically go in my pocketbook
Gets
and
better.
take it out. I could have just handed it to him with the label on it.
The
but they went in my
ignorance
pocketbook and
runs
messed all
deep with
my
this
stuff.
one.
I took it out. My label was in my pocketbook, fell and it fell off.
Where's that label?
In my pocketbook.
Yeah, it was in the pocketbook.
First
Do you
base.
have it?
In my pocketbook with me. I don't know how to bring a label.
I love
You
y'all.
got that label that you're saying fell in your pocketbook, bring that up to me,
All right, that's at home. It's my other pocketbook.
Bring it to
And
me.
Okay,
all right?
And that'll get my weed back.
I'll show it to,
girl, we finna.
I'll show it to who?
Okay.
All
all
right.
right, we'll go from there.
Jesus.
I'm not, I understand, but I can't, look at my
weed when I go
standpoint.
home.
I
Wait,
can't
wait.
hand
Listen to what she
marijuana
just said,
back to
Jesse.
somebody that-
Has a license? It's in my,
Listen to what she says here.
All right?
and that'll get
Really,
my weed back.
listen to
I'll
this. This is
show it
ignorance.
to the
Okay.
powers that be.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right, we'll go from there. I understand, but I can't, look at my standpoint. I can't hand marijuana back to
It's all
somebody
about me.
that-
Has a license?
It's all about me and
No,
my
but it's
police.
not clearly marked.
Looking bad.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Look at it from my standpoint. And all I need, and I'm going through the proper
Okay, did you
channels. I
really
went up
just fucking say that to a woman who's dying? Really? Did you just fucking say that to someone who's begging for a fucking medicine back? You, ooh.
Amen.
Oh.
Hallelujah, girl. You
And you
didn't
wonder
know.
why I'm mad?
You see, this
Really?
this is what you want to include as part of what you take to town council, so that they get the same sort of reaction. Only instead of it being like that, it would be Michelle
You could sue them right now.
Reed saying something as the hurt party. Because when you're the hurt
she's
party, right, and that
The officer's
Michelle,
hurt.
well, I'm just saying
the
that
officer's hurt.
this is the kind of thing to win over a town council. When I say win them over, you become a liability. It's not like they have to like you; they have to fear that what you're saying could be more public than it already is. And how can they
I
make
say
it go
make it
away?
public.
How can they? Well, this is a public record. Town council is as public can be. You can't get more public than that, and it's on record. But that's the way it works. It's not what you have to give them; it's what you have to take from them, and that certain amount of credibility that puts them in position of defending what the police did or making it right, and they can make that right then.
Oh, that might be the police right there. Should we answer that dang phone call?
Right then, they can make that right at the because I imagine the town council meeting is in close proximity to wherever this is being held.
Well,
Same
I would
building.
just like to say that if you
They
would
could
like any
order it
help
released.
from my butt, this won't be my first rodeo, and I really would love to get your medicine back any way possible because this is absurdity. This is insane.
there. Did you speak to Silver Street?
Yeah, we spoke to Kelly Sisk.
Okay. And,
They said it's not their problem.
Yeah, they want nothing to do with the.
yeah, it's exactly what he said. Follow-up investigation, proof that it was confiscated, was purchased when found. That was the message that I got. So I'm trying to figure out, how am I supposed to,
Just call the Rock. Call the ROIC.
but do you see what I'm saying? Yes, you purchased it then.
Right.
Maybe you purchased 17 more bags on the street since then. Do you know what I mean?
You guys
But
think
I
have
get
a lot of
it.
money.
I
I got money. I get Social Security.
How much does this cost? I don't even know.
It costs like $200.
All right. Find me that label. I think that'll
It's
do
in my
it.
pocketbook.
All
I'm
right.
sure. I just have to get my pocketbook.
All right, sorry.
She says you could have bought 17 more bags off the street.
Well, Lefty,
17 more bags
Lefty,
she could have
Lefty.
bought on Social Security.
First of all, what we're gonna do here is if she would like my help, I will help you. And if you want it, it is full throttle. It's not going to be halfway. It's not just going to be getting your medicine, but you will get your medicine. I think you need to get your medicine. I think you need to make this appropriate to the state. I think you need to appropriate. What word was that? Appropriate. How do we even be appropriate as cannabis SOBs when they don't educate nobody? Just like the cop that said, they change them laws so fast, they don't educate us on nothing. And if
It's a new law.
But he said, but my mama's a medical marijuana patient, so if she's got her card, she can smoke. So you know who you are, and I love you. But with that being said, only one. And it's not our job to educate them like Red Lion. We had to go through everybody that was in that police station and get down to the head SOB in charge for them to tell us, go on, go on, go on, as we walk out the front door for another officer to tell us we can't. For us to go next door to just see the video and then get SWAT team on steroids without the military-grade equipment they seem to be selling police stations now. And we, at the end, how many cars were there? There were 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I know of, cars on us, times 2. We at least had 12 to 14 people on us, and we had 3 main guys giving me sobriety checks for a handicapped person that shouldn't have had one for how long? 25, 35, 40 minutes. And then when they got in the car and realized none of my friends, my fellow patients, were wronged, then they were like scratching their head as to what to do and gave me a ticket for careless driving with endangering others. Sent me to court first time, and they tried to make me plea it down. I said no. I'm here and I'm representing myself. The second time, they said, oh, well, we have to get the officer here. I said, well, what's the first time that I came here for? You should have him here now, and it should be legitimately dismissed. So I let him have some time because, honestly, I was tired the night before, and I could prepare a little bit more. So the next time I came, the judge that did what, Lefty, this, sat on his chest with his pen, telling everybody how screwed they were, talking real loud, which was very educational, but asshole-ish. I walk up there, my little briefcase and my dress and all my crap, and he's like, Miss Sanders, sorry, we're going to have to dismiss this because Officer so-and-so tried to contact Officer so-and-so that doesn't exist, Officer so-and-so, and we're going to have to dismiss this. And then the Southern came out of me, didn't it, Lefty? I said, woo, I said, excuse me, can you repeat that? I'm not sure I understood that very well. He repeated it, and I said, Your Honor, thank you so much. Praise the Lord. And then he's like, Miss Sanders, you can exit the courtroom. Not a problem. I'm just handicapping. Take a while. And we beat him. We beat them after they held us on the side of the road. But if they would have got us down the road and not at the gas station, we could have been beat up. Our medicine could have been taken. Our labels could have been taken off. Because every one of them was a rookie, correct? So I just look at your police station as being the same way. I want you to go in there prepared, because the more prepared you are, the more scared they are. Oh, Lord of mercy. All right? Everything all right?
Yeah.
You okay?
Should be good now.
All right. Love you, girl.
So, talking to the mic, I can't hear you, dear.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot that.
What's up? How do you? What do you want? What do you want to do? I know you. I know if we didn't help you, you would have given up by now. So, and it's sad because that's what they count on.
I still went to ShopRite, and I would have passed by there every single time with the ShopRite and went inside and been a pain in the ass until they still wouldn't have came back. But I would still been a pain in the ass, and eventually maybe they would have gave back. I mean, if you came or you didn't come, I would still have gone in there with every single day.
I'll help you if you want my help.
It's a walk from my house, but I go to ShopRite, so that's the only
I'll
reason
pay
I
the
can walk there.
gas, and I'll pick
drive.
you up, and we don't have to walk. Just like I picked up the old lady in the rain yesterday. Ain't no we carpool together because we live close to each other. Thank God, because Christy screwed us on that gas tax. But yeah, I'll come. And what we need to do though is we need to have an appointment with the prosecutor. We need to have a letter drawn up before we go into that appointment, which I can take care of.
Well, the prosecutor doesn't want nothing to do with it anymore.
Exactly, but we need that statement notarized on letter to give to these SOBs. So they can't give us the runaround, girl. There's a process to this. Been there, done that many a times. So for everything they give us, we're going to give them a checkpoint. Here you go. Already talked to the prosecutor. No need to call them. Here's a notarized letter. And we have it on video just so you think we're lying. Boom. Then if they say, well, we don't have a label, this, that, and the third. Say, well, here's a printout from my dispensary. It shows every time I've bought some. Here's the date that you took Shanat. Here's the last date I bought it. You know, highlight it for them. We got to put tabs on it. This is how ridiculous they are.
I think we should even bring in the exact same strain from the dispensary.
I don't think we should bring any more weed.
They can compare it.
No, they are not that sophisticated.
I would like to jump in.
Get it, tie-dye.
I would really like to. My position as a medical cannabis user and self-provider and self-medicator is primarily drawn from being, I won't say a pacifist. I will say I'm a true activist. I will say that truly I will stand for the cause in every possible way that one could, that I'm physically capable of. I mean, I'm not that crippled. But as far as my own personal activism goes, my primary concern is my own well-being. And talking to you, Michelle, I want to talk to you about your personal well-being and this issue we're dealing with. I'm familiar with what happens with MS. What happens to me when I get upset is very much like MS. I turn into a shivering, quivering, quaking mess that doesn't dissipate for a very long time, and it's not good. Stress will
Doesn't do
kill
it,
you
yeah.
faster than anything.
Exactly, and this is not helping.
So, that said, I'm going to say, as an activist, I'm like a peaceful activist. I believe that we need to find our peace in this. Now, Lefty, I know you love to give people hard times along the way, or I know that you like to address people and confront issues very broad, very
I don't like
very
it.
forcefully.
I got better shit to do.
Okay, well,
I really
that's
do.
my position in this conversation right now is addressing Michelle, because I believe that if we were to look at just how big this issue really truly is and how we can get around it. I mean, think of a river. I mean, your river's going to move on, baby girl. This is just a rock that you've encompassed. And the police, we brought in more boulders. You asked the trucks to back in. All this crap's piled up. And it looks like you're never going to get around this. Well, you know what? You're not. But let me tell you, you're a river. You're going to go around it. And we will find another path. Things that you're attached to in this life are just things. The thing that was holding your precious thing that had your medicine, and the medicine itself. These are things that are precious and will always hold dear. But you know, life is so much bigger than these things. And if we want peace, sometimes the best way is to just achieve what you need by going in the path of least resistance instead of trying to. I understand this is for a cause. I understand this is. We have rebels here and people who want to fight.
Therein lies the rub, though. If she does that, and it happens to somebody else and somebody else,
I get that.
and she could have put a stop to it.
I have no complaint
it's
about
almost
that.
a responsibility.
But I
at
don't
that
see
point.
why Michelle needs to be our poster child. You know,
No, she
this
doesn't
is something
need to
that's
be.
really bothering me. That a lot of people that are sick are being, you know, compelled to get up and shout and scream, and I'm all for that. I'm not trying to say they're wrong. Without them, this movement would go nowhere.
Well, without them, I wouldn't be here.
Right, but
Because that's all
I
I
have
ever
never
did.
participated in any of that. I have never been a legal patient.
Yeah.
I have never signed up on any lists, and I'm not an activist in any way for the legal cause of it. Because, I'm sorry, I would have been one of those people that ran away to Canada during the Vietnam War, because it's just not something I believe in. This fight is going to be a fight until the federal government makes its own decision to repeal and change the scheduling. And until that happens, we're going to fight. We're going to be, look at what's happening in California right now. I have friends that have been growing legally, fully compliant, paying their taxes, being beautiful, wonderful members of the society, contributing to the hospitals and the schools and everything. And the DEA just comes in and busts them, just takes everything down, burns it to the ground, and says, fuck you. It doesn't matter. Okay, so you're going to float along in your little quote-unquote legal boat with your little signed card and you're fully compliant, but until it's rescheduled, they're going to come in and fuck with you.
I would
I'm
have
afraid
to.
of that.
I would have to disagree.
I'm really afraid of that.
If you, whenever it's my proper time to disagree, just a little bit. Let me say that when we do a podcast and look across the street and see half a dozen patients using their medicine freely across the state, right across the street where everybody can see them, and the state police know it, and the Trenton police know it, and they do nothing about it. They do not card people. Never. They don't do that. that's a stride. That's not nothing. These are people getting medication. This is Lefty able to continue a podcast because we have made strides while the federal government hasn't. I agree the federal government has to do what they need to do, and that's when it's going to end, not until then. But to leave everybody on the battlefield and not get them off when we can, to me, is unconscionable if I can make a difference.
I'm not really suggesting that at all. What my position here is just for Michelle. And I'm trying to.
She needs to do what's best for Michelle. You're right.
She needs to do what's best for her. Now, I know Jessie has offered her help, and in my way, as an outsider who is not related to the political system or the law enforcement people, I'm willing to help you in any way that I can, with your medicine and with your encouragement and with knowing that you need to be a free person.
Amen.
Your freedom starts within yourself. You cannot be validated by law enforcement. Okay? If you put yourself down, put yourself in front of law enforcement and expect to be validated, they're going to sweep you under the rug. And then we need people like you, and like Jim and Lefty here, and everybody else, Tony and Jessie, and all of the wonderful activists that are working so hard for all of us people that are just carrying on. Okay? I love to garden. I do it well, and I hope I'm not saying too much when I say that. Never. Because I'm afraid of that. That is my only fear, is that the one thing I love to do in my life could give me 40 years in the state of New Jersey.
Some mean-ass tomatoes you must
But
grow.
they are some pretty mean-ass tomatoes. But I'm just telling you that as far as getting my job done, and everybody has a level of position in this thing.
Bingo.
So I'm just
Everybody
here to say,
has a different position.
I see Michelle over here struggling with the fight.
Then there's
and
also,
knowing that this is really going to be a true fight for her. Or not. Her fight should more or less be for herself. I'm just not real sure this is a platform.
It's just though the physicality of it. You walk to ShopRite, and you go to the police station and all. It didn't look like it was taking a physical toll other than how the mental toll will manifest itself physically, which with MS we both know will happen. Part of the rub is being able to do things. In other words, if it's going to affect you like it seems to be now, you really shouldn't be going back and doing this. I would say wholeheartedly. On the other hand, I watched Cheryl, for me to take her to Washington 9 times because we believed it was the federal government, and to watch her lay down in a congressman's doorway and all that was the epitome of physically almost impossible to do, but Cheryl had the mentality that I would never have done that if it was going to be any kind of reaction that was adverse. Cheryl had that personality that grew from it, and maybe it was because she knew the weaker she got as she was dying, the more powerful she became at that. So but her point was to do things like that so that Michelle wouldn't have to. We all do have our own different spot, you know what I mean? And it's people can show up on your behalf without you having to go. It's something that can wind its way through. Words can be spoken on your behalf at a council meeting, and that I would be glad to do if you needed somebody to speak on your behalf, and then you wouldn't have to.
As you
and you wouldn't
with MS, words are not good.
What's that?
With MS, words are not good.
No, but taken care of somebody with MS for the better part of 2 decades, I have just that quickly mentioned. People realize that we could talk about this without you being there. You're crying right now, and you're amongst nothing but friends. I gotta say first, I applaud you going to and obviously beyond your edge to do what's right. But if you're just going to be going back to the same place and get the same sort of amoebic treatment, you know, we, and when I say we, I mean we all, and who would like to help, have to weigh that, much like Wink was just saying. And you know, I'm not seeing you as the best candidate to show up again real soon.
Well,
You know. What do
I'm
you
not
think,
going to
Lefty?
really say that I don't think she couldn't show up. I think what I'm just saying is that, you know, I'm not that able-bodied. I have a spinal cord injury, and they thought I had MS. That's still not sure exactly what's really, quote-unquote, wrong with me. But it's degenerating, and I know that. I feel like you said, it's true. There are plenty of true rebels out there that are fighting for the cause, fighting for children, Roger Barber and his family, and Jenny, and you know, that's how I came into this circle, was through Jenny Barber. And I'll never forget when Roger Barber came to my house with Laura and told them that after 3 doses of medicine that I had provided, Jenny walked into his office and said the first words
And
to
how'd
him.
that make you feel?
His
Come
face,
on, tell us.
Just seeing his face.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this
I can
expression
picture
in
it.
the South, but it felt like a hot knife went right through butter. It
yeah.
just went, wow.
That's how it made you feel.
I mean,
yeah.
and Roger was crying, and Laura was crying, and just to
Yeah.
hear him tell me that story, that Jenny came in and said, "Daddy, I love you," the first words that had ever come out of her mouth.
That's amazing.
And I don't really know if I really contributed to that myself. I know she was on a lot of other medicine, but I had some that I had thrown into the mix, and who knows, I
If
don't
Roger
know.
is blaming it on you, then it's you.
Well, at any rate, what I would like to see is people just feeling not so afraid, to be more empowered, to reach out to people like me. I just recently relocated to this state. I was born and raised here in New Jersey, but I haven't lived here for 50 years. And I just recently find myself doing what I love to do, but not really connected well enough. And I bump into Jenny Barber, and I start learning about creating medicine in a better way, in a much more efficient way. And I'm just all so self-efficient. I'm just taking care of myself. It's spinning off. I've created a vortex within me, and this is where everything is being drawn in. All of you here today have been drawn into my vortex, because this is what I do. I draw people in. I don't go out. You won't see me out running around. I draw things in because this is where our energy is flowing from. And when we start empowering ourselves to be responsible for our own health and stop relying on the medical community, because that's the second worst machine after the political or the law enforcement machine. The medical institution is just a wreck. Those people don't know what to say.
They victimized her too.
When I talked to my doctor about it, I went in for my first visit when I moved here to New Jersey. Here was my introduction to my new doctor. I walk in the office, and she said, after they pre-signed me, I have fibromyalgia, broken neck, I got a spinal cord injury, I've got myalgia and all these other things going on, and numbness and tingling everywhere. So I'm like, okay, cool. She's got it well described. In walks the doctor with her clipboard and looks at me and says, if you're looking for medication or any kind of drugs, you can just hit the pike right now, because I'm not writing anything for you today.
Can you repeat that 1 second?
I walk in the office and she says, I'm not going to write any medication I'm not going to give you any drugs today. If that's what you're looking for, you can hit the pike. Those were her words, verbatim. I looked at her. I was 62 years old. I'm just sitting there stunned. I just moved up here from Northern Virginia. My doctor's office was walled in mirrors, and the floor was marble, and we sat on velvet cushions, and my doctor was very appropriate. We had a certain level of congeniality in Virginia. And I come up here to
well, you're in
Camden,
New Jersey
and
now.
I'm being tossed out like I don't know what.
Poppin' drug addict.
She doesn't even know who I am, excuse me. My husband works at the Pentagon. Will you just please go fuck yourself for a moment?
Bend over and say hi.
She sounds like somebody that a patient somewhere took advantage of. her and the doctor, and maybe there was
Don't even get me
consequences.
started with the medical people. Those people will fuck with you from here, and they will just kill you. You will die going down that path.
Amen.
We need to just start back on the fundamentals of where we were at the turn of the fucking century when we were taking care of ourselves before we really had any other alternatives.
Is this when America was great?
This was when America was
I've
great.
been trying to find out that we're going to make America great again. The again means it was at one point a certain kind of great, and I cannot pin anybody down for a year. What was the great year? In other words, what we're striving for? So anyway, what you described sounded like
our path
it was
here,
great then.
I mean, I'm appreciating everybody getting up against these big ginormous machines that are just chewing you up like a bunch of meat grinders. Okay, and until the federal government rolls, that's just what I see. I'm sorry. I turn on the news,
why
it
would
still
you be
looks
sorry
bad,
for
and it
saying
just
that?
keeps coming. So
We're
me
getting them off the battlefield.
I
in
get
the,
it.
in the
I get it.
meantime.
I'm not down on it. I'm just saying.
No,
that,
I'm not. I'm not taking it that way myself. I'm just saying that that's why we do, and that's why Cheryl and I went to Washington all those times, and why I still go to Washington. It's you can only get so far there, and then
then your self-reliance has to kick in, and that's when you have to get to the point where you're back to where the basics are, which is I'm taking care of myself first here.
We're ramping up for legalization for social use of adults in New Jersey for the next podcast year, or whatever podcast it morphs into.
I would just like to say, for my last words in this podcast.
No, that won't be your last word. We'll draw you back into our podcast.
Well, no, just for today. I mean, or whatever. I would just
that's
like
been
to.
a pleasure.
I think that my position here, I feel, my instinct is telling me the reason why my energy has been injected into this cosmic vortex. No, it's because I think that there is a lot of fear at an individual level where people pick that stick up and tell them to be quiet.
Push your mouth. Push. Thank you. Push your mouth.
You're not
I think that we need to become better empowered to not be so fearful. I talk to people about gardening all the time. And the response I get is they're quaking in their boots.
I'm sorry, it looked like a soupy sales.
I was just talking to one guy. He's 70-some years old. He lives right across the street from a police department, but he's been medicating himself for the last 40 years, and he's so afraid to even put one little plant in a closet. And there's just no reason for that.
No
you
reason
know what?
for him to be
we
afraid?
have the right to a reasonable amount of privacy within our own homes. We are not in Nazi Germany yet. They are not coming to the door, banging on the door, saying, we have to come in, we have papers. Until that happens, we are still safe to do whatever we want, okay? I have an acquaintance who is an associate through the fetish community. Now, that's a whole nother can of mess. But that whole community is residing very powerfully in the privacy of their homes. Now, if they can do it and get away with beating and whipping and tearing and melting and bending and all that stuff that they do.
Whoa, keep going.
I'm just saying. I'm saying that what I do and what I think
Change the rating of
should
the
be
show.
like a role model. I feel like I want to be a role model to try to be a pathway to people who don't want to be fearful of this system anymore. Okay, I'm not afraid. I can get 40 years for what I'm doing. But this does not scare me, and I don't know why. That may be why this is my calling, because I don't fear it. I don't fear the consequences.
Do you know why? Because you're calling by God. I spent $150,000 in 5 years, and I'm the first person to get off early. Got 6 months to go, and I'll still grow for the rest of my life.
I'm just saying, whatever my calling is, I feel like I'm like an example. I want to show people you can do this. You can take care of yourself. I'm taking care of myself. I don't have everything, and the circumstances aren't always perfect, but I feel like I can help people understand that the fear is the first thing you have to conquer. The fear of being able to take care of yourself and being connected and better connected. That was a fear I came to about a year ago when I realized just how consequential it could be if I got caught. Now, I have no profile here, so that said, I have to take my fear and just throw it out the window because it's unfounded.
Without a profile, you have a better option to do that.
Right, and so I'm speaking to the people who have no profile, the
If
people
you
that are
have-
still fearful.
If you have children, you have a profile out the wazoo.
Sure, I
just from
understand
having
that, and
children.
if you have children, you don't want to do this.
Or if you're a
But
teacher,
there
a
are
school
plenty
teacher.
of other people. There are people like me.
Yeah.
There are lots of people out here.
And me.
Like you and me, who might have a spare room, a spare storage space. All you need to know is the simple 5 steps, and you can be safe, and you don't have to be worried, and you can help other people. I want to help Michelle because I don't want her to have to feel like she has to just run to the dispensary. This drives me crazy because the whole dispensary issue drives me crazy.
Yeah, and that's
In all my experience, I have never even been to a dispensary once yet. Not anywhere.
I'm not allowed, so I haven't been.
I don't even want to go. I think it's awful.
I got my overpriced bag right here.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's a legal label though.
Yeah,
You got a
make
label.
Sure, make sure it stays on.
Yeah, don't let that label fall off.
Yeah. Because
So that would be my
I'd have to
position
take it
here.
from.
Is just simply to try to just encourage people to get
I'll
over
have
their
to take
fear
that if
and
that label
understand that
falls off.
really in the
For
first
your own
line
good.
we need to learn how to take care of ourselves. We're no good as soldiers in this war unless we learn how to take ourselves. If we're falling down in front of the police, if we're dying in front of the police, if we're having seizures in front of the police, that's exactly what they want to see us do. They don't want to see us taking care of ourselves. So what we need to do is take care of ourselves, and that way they are no longer focusing on us. Now, the real big focus issues, like getting the thing rescheduled and helping kids get their medicine, that's the platform. But everybody else that's outside of children and the seriously, gravely disabled, everybody else that's relatively, like in my condition, I'm not able-bodied by any means, but what I can do,
We could start a club.
anybody could do it.
Yeah.
And I just think if I'm going to be an outlaw, I'm going to show people how to take care of themselves first. You cannot fight this war if you're not taking care of yourself or helping the guy that's up there fighting. I mean, okay, we're trying to work with within all these hoops and these regulations, and we're trying to get all legal schmeagle and have everything all lined up just right. Everybody's papers have to be in order. Well, excuse me, that just creeps me the fuck out.
For real.
I mean, I don't live in Nazi Germany, okay? I live in America. I live in America. I'm a proud and 16 generation American. My people have been on this continent for 16 generations. We came over on the Mayflower. I'm a proud citizen of this country. I have no Native American blood in me, and that bothers me. But other than that, I'm here to say that we're going to be patriots. Amen. Patriots mean we need to start with ourselves at home, in our homes, showing people how to take care of themselves. Michelle, if you can't grow right now, that's okay.
'Cause you got us, girl.
You're connected, okay? You're very well connected. And my message would be, as far as your thing goes that you're attached to, just remember what that is. Okay? People's houses burned down. One of my dearest friends just lost her prize collie that was only 5 years old. He just fucking dropped dead. Her constant companion. I mean, things. I get it. My only child was taken from me when I was only 15 years old and sold in the state of New Jersey in 1968. No.
Okay, I was wondering.
No, I'm 64 years old. This happened when I was 15
I'm
in 1968.
We roll, man.
1968.
We
yeah.
rock.
We just got a call from jail not to interrupt from a weed person that got put in jail because of just weed, and he's an elderly man.
Well,
I just
Well,
want to say
I
you can't
just-
be a revolutionary if you can't grow your own food or your own medicine.
Well, I don't understand. You know, I see this little seed. It's in a pile of a whole bunch of other seeds. I've got squash and carrots and tomatoes and everything else going. I've got basil and thyme and rosemary and
That's a
parsley and
Simon
all that.
Dang
stuff,
Gardener,
Garfunkel song
you know?
going there.
Okay, and I'm over here. I don't see one seed from another. I treat everything equally. Everything gives me the fruit of my labor, and everything serves me. And it's through a process. I mean, you can call it God. I'm connected to the universe.
Universe, it's just whatever you want to call
It's
it.
just my own personal little way of believing.
Karma.
I don't try to tell anybody else how to feel or think. I just want to make everybody aware that we are an energy source within ourselves, and we have the power to heal ourselves. But it has to start with your understanding first, and really cogniting and connecting with the inner core, that you know that vortex is within you, first of all. And you're going to learn how to take care of yourselves. And we're all been brought into this. I mean, as far as my job is here, I just want to teach people how to break the law. I want to teach people they can't.
My new best friend.
They cannot lock us all up.
They try though, girl.
Yeah, they're trying,
I'm sure
but
they can, but they can't.
No, they
It's
can't.
just not possible.
Well, they're sending them to Salem and letting them out
Okay,
as soon as they
first of
process
all,
them.
May I please ask this question? Who's got money to pay for the prosecutors?
What do you mean?
Who's paying the prosecutors to throw your ass in jail?
The taxpayers.
we are.
Okay. Now, wait a second. Those taxpayers are
what's
paying
now?
the prosecutors. Is that right? Is that really true?
I don't really know.
Yeah, well, until we know who's paying the prosecutors, you know what? I don't think they're getting paid too well these days.
I think that
Frankly, I don't see a whole lot of marijuana cases being taken down. Do you know, 5 years ago, I lived on a beautiful horse farm. I was paying $3,000 a month rent, and I was raising horses in Virginia. I was growing my garden there just as I do everywhere. And my own daughter that was taken from me, that I gave up for adoption, made an anonymous call one day. And two guys plain clothes came to my house and wanted to come in. And they said they'd gotten a phone call. They did identify themselves as detectives, and they were very, very insistent, and they broke me down over a period of about 25 minutes at the door. I did not then know my rights. I did not then know that I should say, "Do you have a warrant? Please come back with one." I did not say that. I eventually broke down because they kept pounding on the door and yelling at the door. And finally I just said, "Let them in." So they came in and they told me they were looking for this big grow. Okay, they'd been told I had a great big grow operation. I'm envisioning this like 10,000 square foot warehouse or something, by the way they were describing it. They're coming in, looking around in my little 1,000 square foot farmhouse I'm living in, and there's nothing. Well, they keep twisting and twisting and twisting, and finally I say, "Okay, show them." And it was a little 4x4 closet where I had 3 little Snoopy Charlie Brown Christmas trees standing. They were spindly and little nothings. And they were like, "Well, this all has to go." And they took the light, and they took down everything, and they took everything out of the house. And they said, "Here's my card. Give us a call."
to be a narc.
No. I had to go down and I had to call to make an appointment to go down to see the police. They made me make an appointment. This was 5 years ago in Virginia, Northern Virginia.
Just 5 years.
Yes, just 5 years ago. So I went and I made my appointment, and I went in. And in the meantime, I also went and got a very good lawyer.
Amen.
And in the process of cutting through, not dealing with the police immediately, by going to get a very, very good attorney who would give me free counseling for an hour and then tell me exactly what I had to do. I did exactly what I had to do because these officers gave it away when they came in the door. The first thing they said is, "If you have a license, we're going to walk away." And I didn't have my license. I'm flopping all over the floor like a fish out of water. I can't talk to them anymore. I'm like, going and having one of my things because I was so upset. So what I had to do was I had to go get my license, which was not possible in Virginia, was not possible in Jersey, was not possible anywhere on the East Coast. In fact, 5 years ago, the only where it was possible was Colorado. I had one friend in Colorado. He said, come on out. You can use my address.
God bless.
So I went out I flew to Colorado the next day. I went to his address. He made an appointment with a doctor. I paid that doctor $150. I had to pay another $100 for my card. I had to go down. First of all, I had to go get a driver's license, and that was a breeze in Colorado. I just walked right in. Hey, let's see. Oh, yeah, you're Virginia. Fine, no problem. Fill this out. Zip, sign. There you go. Have a new Colorado driver's license. I'm good. Now I go down. I get my thing. And la, 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 la. Everything's all in place. I get my card coming, and I fly home 3 days later. Well, it took a month for the card to come. We did not, my attorney deferred the thing until we got before the judge. By the time we got before the judge, I had my card. I had everything in place. Why I'm living in Virginia is none of their business. What I'm doing in Virginia, I live in Virginia and I also live in Colorado. It's not unheard of. Okay?
You have a family member.
So, well, it doesn't matter. They don't go there. So, anyway, we went before the judge, and the judge just wanted to give me wanted to put me in probation and wanted to send me into this whole thing, and my attorney just stood up and said, no, that's not appropriate. We need to get more information, blah, blah, blah. We deferred. We went through the court system 4 times over a period of 6 months, and then finally it was time served. But in the meanwhile, the judge told me I did have to talk to this probation officer. So I go in to talk to this female probation officer who tells me very clearly I must have a problem with alcohol. And I'm like, where does this alcohol business come from? That's not why I'm here. That's not why they came to my house. It has nothing to do with drinking. She said, but it's obvious. You filled out the questionnaire. You said no to everything relating to alcohol. That's got to indicate that you're an alcoholic. And I'm like, this is insane. I said,
That's what an alcoholic would say. That's exactly what an alcoholic would say. This is insane.
Right. So I'm over here telling her, look, I am a medical cannabis user. I have my card. I'm dually licensed in 2 states. I have everything I need to show you right here. And if you want me to pee in a cup, it's going to test positive. I'm telling you. I'm medicated right before I came here. And so she says, okay. You got to pee in the cup right here in front of me? So I did. I just jacked trow and right on down, peed in the cup. Right there for her and handed it to her. She tests it and it comes up bright green or whatever it is. Oh, man. She's like, yes, this is positive for... And I just told her, I said, well, you got me. I said, have you got anything else on me? And she said, well, I expect that I'm going to have to violate you. I said, excuse me? What? This is the vernacular, the term that they use in Virginia. Right. I'm going to violate you because you failed your test.
Send you back.
And finally I just said, if you're not holding me for anything specific, I'm leaving. And she said, if you walk out the door, you're admitting that I'm going to violate you. And I said, well, if you're intent on violating me, then you can just go right ahead.
And you can use another word, please.
And I walked out. I never saw that woman ever again. She never appeared in front of the judge.
You weren't
and
violated.
It just was never a problem ever again. And by the time it was done, all I came out with was a driver's license that had a stamp punched in it. They punched a hole in it because they took my driver's license in Virginia for a year. Oh, hell. They made somebody chauffeur me around for a year. I actually thanked the judge. I said, thank you for not making me drive. I appreciate not having I have an excuse not to drive. Well, that long story just basically came around where I know a lot of people are getting in trouble, but I could have gotten in a lot of trouble at that time. And it just didn't happen. It wasn't necessarily because I had a great lawyer. I had a really great lawyer. He used to be the county prosecutor. But then he turned to be a defender and a defense lawyer, and he defends cannabis people. And, I just get this overriding feeling that there's just one small element that's missing. And the missing part is that we've kind of lost our heart in this fight. Amen. The people that need to know that can be empowered. Like Laura Barber. Laura Barber was so empowered. Laura Barber was so empowered when she was first dealing with this, of making everything at home and doing everything herself, and learning how to become an alchemist, really. You know, mixing up her own brews for this child. I mean, really, that's just revolutionary to me. But that's bringing us right back to our grassroots of where we really need to be. Right now, in the fight, don't let's forget the people that are still quite able-bodied and capable of changing their minds about this. You know, there's a lot of people out there that can, you know, stop buying their medicine on the street, or stop buying it from dealers, or stop supporting that mechanism and start supporting your local farmers and your local gardeners. And us, we're also on the front lines because we've got everything at stake. You know, I just do what I do because I love what I do. I love what I do, and what's spinning off as a result of that is it's loving my body. My body's feeling better. I'm no longer on any prescription medication except for one for my blood pressure, and that's kind of a silly little one. I'm not really even sure why I'm taking it. I forget half the time anyway. Amen. But you know, so I take it. What, you know? But I've got really bad arthritis, and I'm spinally handicapped and very unstable, and if you get me upset, I'll fall on the floor, and
You are me.
and it's just not pretty, you know. So I just want to chill. I want everybody to start just understanding we need to find peace here, and the peace we find is within ourselves, and understanding that we can't be fearful of this anymore. The fear is unfounded. You know, they made a song about that back in my generation. You know, all about paranoia. It strikes deep, and into the hearts it will creep. You know, it makes you always afraid. Get out of line.
The man come and take you away.
That's right. And you know, we grew up on that. We were bottle fed that anthem. So I'm sure there are plenty of people in my generation that still feel that way.
We're in mine too, girl, because after they busted in
Grab
my
that mic.
door-
Grab that mic. I can't hear you.
Mine too. Mine too. It doesn't stop because once they busted in my door and they were threatening to give me 30 years with no record, has worked all my life and a victim of felony assault and battery, I've learned to just live completely out loud, like megaphone status with my weed all the time. But at the end of the day, I'm never not wondering who's knocking at my door, not wondering who's behind me. I'm constantly looking in my rear views, constantly checking my side mirrors, constantly looking outside, wondering what's going on. And after they've knocked in my door, my friends list got super, super tiny, if not almost non-existent. Now my advocate friends, the people who are suffering with me, my fellow peeps, they're the only people I think I can truly trust. The only people I would dare ever call if I had a true medical issue. And that's why I get called by people in their last days of life to help them, because they want the cannabis too and they can't properly get it.
All right, guys, I got a news story here. There's an NFL player with Crohn's disease who treats his Crohn's with cannabis, and the NFL has just suspended him. He's the offensive tackle for the Bills, Chantrell Henderson. 10 games for treating his Crohn's. Wait a minute, didn't the guy get coked out and kill somebody or something, or a guy with a gun? He got suspended for a couple of games. I don't know.
Another guy beat up his wife.
He beat up his wife and got like a game for that.
That's the same 10-game suspension you would get for violating steroid policy.
But he's treating his Crohn's disease.
I know, but it's the Philadelphia Eagles had one of their main guys get a 10-game suspension.
I'd like to see my Buffalo Bills step up and fight for this guy.
Well, let's call the commissioner's office. The commissioner. He's not the police. Not the police. No, we can't call him. No.
How about the Buffalo Bills front office?
Okay. No phone calls. Okay. Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know the parameters. I didn't know. Okay. No.
She's the boss.
You're the boss.
We're gonna.
No phone calls.
Right.
Okay.
The boss right here.
We don't want.
Fair enough.
We don't want no geo-tracking, okay? Let me tell you.
Take the batteries out of ourselves.
You know what? I want to tell
Fair enough.
everybody that I know Ed Fortune, and Ed Fortune gave me one little piece of advice I will never forget, and that is turn off your geo-tracking. Turn off your geo-tracking.
Location thing, right?
Yes, turn it off so that you only want it on when you want to be known where you are. And that includes photographs and telephone calls and everything. because your location can be pinpointed very, very, very easily and triangulated with a phone call or anything like that. So, yeah.
Right. Everybody needs to pay attention. They think
Turn off your geo-tracking. You don't need it. It's not. I don't have anything in this house. My cell phone's completely dead, turned off. There's no way anybody can ever follow me through my phone. I mean, Ed Fortune knows what he's talking about. He's a brilliant, brilliant patriot. And for him to give me just that one little piece of advice, I think is invaluable, for all of us to know. Just one of the basic things to getting started, understanding what trying to go stealth is about.
Post-it note and pen all day, girl. Post-it note and pen.
So, just basically, I think getting ourselves empowered and learning how to do stuff real simply and taking care of our basic needs is where we need to really start focusing to. I'd like to see some light in that area, in this fight. It's the only thing I see that I don't see. I don't see any growers attending any of these events.
They might
I
be.
don't see any farmers that are coming out saying, leave us alone. We are taking care of ourselves.
Because we've been fighting not going to jail because they've been trying to put this one in jail for 5 years.
Yeah, well, it's also because of the John Wilson effect.
I get it.
And
I do completely understand.
They love handing out sentences for 17 plants, 4 plants, 5
well,
plants.
and
they got less than 6
there is a risk.
my local store, my hydroponic store where I do all my shopping, I have to be very careful.
Wait, is it Bristol?
No.
Thank God.
But I have to be careful about every word I say in that store.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff I can't say. I can't even show photographs.
Can I just say something?
I can't make any reference to anything.
That goes right with that. There was a whole special that I videotaped last night. I have it on my phone about how they implemented
Off
cops
mic.
in the high schools.
Hey, you're off mic, Jesse.
Oh, I gotta be on.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, my bad. They implemented cops into high schools so that they could ask the kids to get them drugs. There happened to be these 2 cops that look very young that just, come on, please, please, please. When nobody would help them out, they went to the autistic kid. First thing the autistic kid does to his mom and says, Mom, I have a friend. And he wouldn't talk to anybody. And this kid befriended him. And when the kid gets busted for guess how much weed, y'all? Not even a gram of weed. They come and they interrogate him to where now he can't even speak to people. His autism is a billion times worse. And he didn't ever say anything to his parents about breaking the law. He said, Mom, he was my friend. And my friend betrayed me, a cop, over a little bit of what I thought was his medicine. An autistic child.
There's a lot of bad shit out there.
Yeah.
That's why I don't want to deal with the cops, they're just bad. They're bad karma, and that's why I just don't want to deal with it, The one way we can stay clean in our lives is to keep our karma clean. Start here.
Amen.
Within ourselves, the movement. We've got a strong movement going here, but the heart of the movement is we need to understand it better.
How do we not get angry? Because I get really friggin' angry. How do we not get angry? Because I'm the angry dude.
We unite.
It's for real.
I
need hippie rehab. I do. I'm serious. I'm fucking pissed off. The shit that I've seen in the past 3 years, I was never this angry. And now I am.
Unite, Lefty. We got to take our anger all together, make it kind of resolve into work.
This is why I do what I do. I try to focus my anger and do, things like videos and podcasts and all this kind of stuff, but it's not enough. I don't know if it'll ever be enough.
Guess what? It's gonna be.
I want to hear you on, Mike.
He always wants a mic check myself.
Otherwise, it's dead air. And that's
Yeah,
it.
because
I don't know how to
y'all
tell
guys
you
got
how to
something to
deal
say
with
about the
your
loud
anger.
mouth.
I think
Yeah.
what you're doing is perfectly reasonable with with your anger. But
More.
as far as just trying to come to peace with yourself, you need to understand you're doing everything you can. And the anger that you're feeling is just the burn. It's burnt you.
And
So that's where the anger is. And you have the choice not to. We always have a choice. It's not an easy choice to make. It's really not.
How do we not get angry when we see what happened?
Well, we have a
happened to
viewer
Michelle?
right now.
Well, I'm not saying we should not
I
get
can't
angry.
help it now. I just. And I don't know how to focus that anger sometimes
We
because sometimes
unite.
I get but when I'm talking to a cop and I'm getting flustered, I might just go off one day and just start yelling at
Well,
them.
the first
The
thing.
person
I don't wanna
behind
do
me
The
that.
did.
problem with that statement was the very first thing he said. I was talking to a cop.
Girl, that makes so.
I'm sorry.
You know you're right.
You just
You're right.
canceled out what you just said.
Yeah.
You bring these people into a
stress.
conversation and you get what you asked for.
It's immediate stress.
Amen.
Your stress level goes up immediately when the cop is around.
You know,
It
Or
does.
gets behind you.
I had a
Especially
lady
behind.
cop come here to the house a couple of months ago because my boyfriend is a drummer and he was playing back here and neighbors 2 doors away complained. Middle of a Saturday afternoon. A drummer. So this lady cop comes down here from the town that I live in, and she's walking up my driveway. She walks into my back gate, leaves the back gate open, and
And she has dogs.
I have dogs. My back door was open. All of my dogs could have run away. Fortunately, they happen to like shiny people with shiny things on them, and they were jumping all over her like she was all the attention. And I had somebody from a friend came up and closed the gate behind her real quick so they would not run away. But in the meanwhile, I had to address her with this. Also, in the meanwhile, I had this. I'm gardening, right? And it happened to be one of my big harvest times. And I was just happening to be sitting at the very table we're sitting at right now. And I just happened to only be like 5 feet away from the window where she was standing just outside that window. So geographically speaking, she probably couldn't have been closer to what she had no idea than ever. But I'm out there trying to deal with this issue with noise. So I go out there and she, you know, I just was very kind, and I told her that I didn't mean to disturb anyone and that we would surely take care of everything and nothing would be of a concern. And my ex-husband who lives upstairs came down and was making a big scene out of things, so she called for backup, and I'm like, oh, this is just going to get out of control, because he's back here going crazy thinking, you know, they shouldn't be bothering us because my friend's playing drums. And anyway, this big burly cop comes walking up, and he's standing there with this posture like he wants to break somebody's neck, right? And I'm just standing there trying to just be real chill, and I'm talking to this woman. She's over here saying, your husband needs out of control. I'm going to have to put restraints on him. I'm going to have to call for more backup. I'm like, look, he's deaf. You need to leave him alone. He can't hear you. Please understand me. He's just going to go do what he does. Just let him go. I'll deal with you, okay? Look, this isn't going to be an issue anymore. And I turned to the cop, and I said, you know, you look really stiff. You need to chill out, man. I said, you're freaking me out. I said, you really, seriously, you're freaking me out. You need to just, nothing's going on here. My boyfriend's back here playing drums. Okay, the neighbors complained. I've got a lunatic for an ex-husband. It's no big deal. You know, chill out, man. You're freaking me out. I'm just a little old lady over here. So he, relaxed, you know. And I'm like, yeah, there you go. Come on, that's it. And just be cool, be cool. Everything's all right. And the lady cop I was talking to, she was being perfectly reasonable within her means. But, I'm just like, everything's perfectly calm.
We're not in Camden getting shot.
No, you have to be like a Jedi when you talk to them.
Yeah.
You have to go, everything is calm.
Wink, I feel better already. Hippie rehab is working for me. I
There
do.
are but there's
You're
also
right.
soft buttons you can use.
Absolutely.
And so that's what I'm saying. Everything's fine. We apologize. It's not going to be an issue. And I shook her hand. I shook his hand. And then I marched myself down to the police station the next day and wanted to go see a police officer about the sound ordinance. She wasn't on duty, and I was.
The sound ordinance officer.
Yes. Right. So I had the noise
8 to
ordinance
3.
or
Wait,
whatever.
8 to 3.
Right. So.
I knew
So
it.
he came down and and I talked to him about it. And I just said, look, I'm fully aware when I walk into the police department, first of all, radar, I know I'm on camera. I know every word I say, every move I make, everything I do is being recorded. The officer comes in. I'm very nice. How do you do? Nice to meet you. I'm so-and-so, and this is what happened yesterday. And I just wanted to report that when your officer came to my house, she was trespassing. She entered into my backyard that's gated, and I have 4 real big dogs back there that could have escaped. Fortunately, they didn't. So I'm here to say thank you, because if anybody could have trespassed that day and walked into my backyard unauthorized without having any right to be there, it was a good thing it was a cop, because my dogs like cops. They're shiny, and they're very attracted to them in that way. 2 of my dogs were rescues. They were picked up by cops. So they run right to the police officers. So I wanted to thank her for at least being a cop and not just somebody who decided to walk in my backyard.
Did she know that meaning?
I don't know. I didn't get to talk with her. But at any rate, I know that whether or not he acknowledged what I said was not important. I knew that I was on camera, and I knew that what I said would be heard. I also wanted to say that I wanted to thank them for their due diligence in coming by, and that I appreciate it because we have a very peaceful town. The least thing I ever wanted to do was disturb anyone. Mm-hmm. And you know, he just told me there's really no big deal anyway. They can complain all day. They'll come ask us to turn it off. We turn it off. They complain. We turn it off. They complain. We turn it off. There's no other avenue here.
But don't you think more people should be that way? Just simply a little more humane?
You treat a person like a human being, and a lot of times, if you treat a police officer like a human being,
they're shocked.
They are sort of taken away from that.
Turn his mic on for our police story we just had.
Do I tell a story?
Yes,
I'm not
Mike,
telling a
check.
story.
Get it. You were driving.
I'm enjoying listening to your story. It's
Well,
good.
when she's done.
Oh, am I done? I'm done.
No.
Go.
I was amazed at how the cops handled
Which story, Ardmore?
about how you tell a cop you got to pay your tab, and we still were let go.
Well, yeah,
We're giving them our weed cards and our weed and everything.
Yeah, we used our weed cards, our New Jersey medical marijuana cards in Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania cops are notoriously bad with DWIs for cannabis. And
Sit down.
I did a little of the Jedi, and that's the best way to describe it. Your words.
Yeah, that's what
your
I
words
said.
be a Jedi. I actually handed him the weed, and then I told him that I couldn't be bothered with him because I needed to go in and pay the bar tab at the bar, and I was pointing at the bar here, but it was actually behind us.
After your
We had
passenger
gone outside to medicate, you know.
was smoking me, and I had my weed out everywhere, sitting Indian style in the passenger seat, and then you could not find an insurance card?
Yeah, I couldn't find my insurance card.
And I'm going through finding old concert tickets. We're having like flashbacks. He's like, what in the heck is she doing?
We were at a concert. I wasn't prepared for the government to be talking to us. You know, we walked outside to medicate. We were being polite by going out to the car to medicate, and next we're sitting in the parking lot, parked, and we got pulled over. So.
Because your lights weren't on.
Well, the lights weren't on, but
But you
whatever.
were just going to the other side of the street.
Yeah, we were parked.
But I was very surprised that he didn't make, because I'm like, hi, I'm Jesse. I'm a weed patient. I was helping Governor Wolf. What do you think about weed? You know, and that's just how I approach cops now, because I'm not scared of them at all.
I that just makes me think of something, Jesse. I have to say, another thing that I would like to comment about is that talking about weed is like talking about sex.
I know.
Okay? Do you tell people publicly, this is what I do in the inside in my bedroom when the lights are out and I'm by myself or with my partner or whatever? No. I mean, we have a lot of activists that want to get out there, but I have the same issue with that too. I mean, I know
But for me and
Depends on the
cops,
crowd,
it's a
yeah.
different fight.
I'm not going to come up to you and say, hi, I'm a straight white woman and I prefer sex in the upright position.
Well, I'm not going to tell you that.
I prefer to, this is all I want to talk about.
That was my first question for the podcast, actually, for you,
thanks
Wink.
very much.
I'm just saying, because I fought the state of New Jersey.
I fall over too easy. Let's go there, okay?
The only reason I'm so out loud is because I am the first person in the state of New Jersey who is growing weed in my house, who was only simply a victim of felony assault and battery, who they wanted to just push judges on. 4 judges, 5 prosecutors, 3 attorneys, and I wouldn't take no for an answer. I paid every attorney bill by myself, and I just kept knowing what I was doing was right. And so now that I won, yeah, I tell every fucking cop I see, I smoke weed. My name's Jesse. Here's my card. Would you like to know about the program? That's just what I do.
Well, that's a good path for a lot of people,
Well, it took me a while to get there. I wouldn't have done that before.
I mean, it's fierce. It's just you're fierce. You have no idea the respect I have for you for that.
Thank you.
For being that fierce and strong and forthright. Really, truly. That is such power that you've had in yourself.
Well, I lost my entire family and everyone because I chose weed rather than narcotics.
Cannabis.
So, with my dad being a fallen officer from the 90s, my grandfather having cancer and Crohn's disease before they even knew what Crohn's was, my grandmother being misdiagnosed with Parkinson's for 5 years, I know how much marijuana could have helped them. And still, they live in Mississippi. That's where I'm from. And the one answer I finally got years ago for my mother was, well, Jesse, if it was legal, it'd be one thing. And my sperm donor wasn't around, and I guess that's the one thing he tried to fight for, too, was smoking weed. And she had a problem with it. So, you know what happened to him? He became alcoholic and died at 45. And for your own family to say, if it was legal, it'd be one thing. And for my brother to have an arsenal of guns and knives because my dad got sick of taking the same 8-year-olds from the projects to the jail, and he knew what they were trying to deal with just walking to and from school. How is it okay to have that or the illegal plugs in the back of the cable box that he would bring home from work? But yet you talk about a plant when my grandfather grew me up with 9 gardens, and that's why I'm such an amazing effing gardener, because he was telling me, Jesse, there's going to come a day where you're not even going to be able to get water. Look at us now. There's going to come a day, Jesse, where all your seeds aren't going to be the same. Well, in 1993, when my grandfather said we had to miss a step in the fields, you know why? That was because all the seeds were turned into Monsanto, genetically modified, not reproducing. And I just did not understand that as a child. So for someone to tell me that a plant that saved my life is wrong, I don't give a shit if they got the same blood or if they got a badge on.
Well said.
Mic drop.
I guess I can only follow that up with my own statement at this age, you know. I think we all gain wisdom as we're getting older. We're a lot like trees. The older we get, the taller we get, and the farther our vision goes. And the more you can see, you know, and the more you can see back, and the more you can see forward, and it's astounding, really. My process of aging has been calamitous physically, but, you know, I understand why everybody's angry. I'm trying to understand why I'm here to this place where I feel so peaceful in this storm. And I'm not real sure. I wish I had an answer beyond just having an intrinsic understanding that peace and joy comes from within me. So, you know, I just don't talk about it. You know, this is the passion of my life. And I don't talk about it. I don't talk about it. I don't talk to anybody about it.
Well, now you have
I talk to you guys about it, and this is the open-eyedness I have ever been around.
Talking about it on a podcast right now.
Yeah, this is the way to do it. You want to talk about it? This is how you talk about
I'm
it.
not scared.
But you're going to have a hard time
Well,
convincing
but I
me you
just
don't talk about it.
But as far as like talking to my neighbors, talking to my best friends, talking to my boss, talking to my doctor. I mean, I tried to talk to my doctor. When I finally got through to my doctor, I finally just told her, look, I don't want your damn pharmaceuticals. I know how to medicate myself and take care of myself, and I just need a referral to a physician who can get me closer to that. Or I will just take care of it myself, if you understand my meaning.
I finally got to a point like that with my doctor, and the DEA went in about a week later and shut him down.
Well,
I finally got to a good spot with my doctor.
My doctor never did anything. She finally just said, look, I can't tell you not to. There's too much inconclusive evidence out there that's pointing in favor of it. She says, I'm not going to condemn you for it. Just be careful. That was my doctor's orders.
And there's a doctor that's actually doing no harm, finally, for once.
This was the doctor that told me to hit the pike when I walked in.
Really?
The very same doctor, because I was horrified after that visit. I came home and I called the administrator, the head administrator over there at that medical facility, and I complained about my treatment. with meeting her and her bedside manner and that very first walk-in as a new patient. That was unconscionable for her to treat me that way, and they needed to know that, but there was no, I don't talk about weed. I just don't do it. When I was at the hospital, I was in hospital for 7 days last October because they thought I had MS, and I had all these tests done. I never talked to anybody about cannabis. I talked to one doctor, one of my neurologists. Well, they probably do. Yeah, no, that's not good.
I gotta say that's
But
where
I talked to my neurologist. Now, only one of my neurologists was actually just like, you know what, you're on point with this.
Yeah.
We know what you're doing, and
we know
nudge,
what you're
nudge,
doing.
wink, wink. It's cool. That's basically what he said to me. Because I told him I'm not going to take all these drugs that you want to put me on to stabilize me, make me still, smooth my muscles, stop my jerking. I said, all I have to do is sit down and smoke a joint, and I'm good. I'm good for several hours. So go fuck yourself.
Fuck yeah, man.
And my doctors just look at me and say, well, okay, fine. You don't want a prescription? Save me the paper. I'm like, your paper isn't worth anything to me.
You're awesome.
I can't get the drugs they want to give me anyway.
Amen.
The one drug they gave me, I have to go and pay $110 every month just to go before my doctor, who can go, oh, hubba bubba, oh, God of drugs, oh, pharmaceuticals, give me my prescription, and here's my check, thank you for my prescription, and I go to the pharmacy.
Well, the doctor
Every
gets
month.
paid,
No,
the
I'm not going to
pharmacy
do
gets
that.
paid, the
No.
insurance company gets paid. I never heard of so many motherfuckers getting paid on fucking drugs in my life.
I'm just not going to do it. You know what? We have a lot of energy as human beings. We have a lot of energy that we can do a lot of things with, and for people who are specifically designed to do very good things, like Jim, who writes incredibly well and does beautiful articles, and Lefty over here, who's channeling his anger into this great big podcast business, and this is just awesome. And you know, Michelle, who's sitting over here, who's just struggling to figure out a way out from this, you know, or a way on from this. And Anthony, Tony, I don't know what your path is and where you're excelling. I don't know you very well enough. I can just tell.
He's a glamour puss.
You have very, very strong, powerful energies. And Jesse,
Like me.
you know, your energy is just incredibly powerful. For having just met you for the very first time, I just want to say, you know, girlfriend, don't burn out too soon. Okay? I'm twice your age. When we're half the age we reach, we're invincible. We're at a point in our lives where we feel like we can just do anything and nothing's going to happen.
Nothing did happen though.
Well, maybe to you.
No, I mean I'm 64 too, and I'm here, so I guess I got through the other end of it. Not a great plan.
Sure, but
it's all happening.
Cannabis brought us through, brother.
What would you do?
I've been smoking
Oh,
cannabis.
yeah.
I have been using cannabis since 1968.
What age is that?
Wow.
If you,
I was 15 when I smoked my first
Hell
joint.
yeah.
I am 64, and I took a break. I fell into hard times. I started using IV drugs, cocaine, methamphetamine. I was doing
God
that
bless
for a
you.
year. I lost my home, my job, my life, and everything of 25 years to go run to Nebraska and live in seclusion by myself for 8 years.
That's a cowboy song.
But
no
you know what?
sex,
You're
no
awesome.
sex, no love, no rock and roll, no drugs, sex, or rock and roll.
You're
for
a
whole
beast.
8 years.
You're a beast.
Damn.
And then I came out, and I'm a better person because I went through eliminating all of the things that were trying to destroy me. The power that we have within ourselves is the power to survive and live. When we're in a position where it makes us want to go, like this, and we're all just shrinking in on this thing, and some of us lash out of anger, and some of us just implode. You know, my only advice I can give anybody is just try to feel that power is really there. It's there for you to tap on. It's there's so much abundance.
And power in numbers.
Yeah.
Yes, and the numbers also helps because you have that.
We all have bad
all
days.
Increased our energy. You know, it's just a matter of understanding that you can take care of yourself. And this is a magical substance that lives on this planet with us. It's a seed we plant. We treat it like every other garden seed we plant, and we harvest it, and we benefit from it just like any other seed we plant and harvest and benefit from. There's no difference from it. It's been around as long as the Egyptians. There's absolutely nothing that's ever going to stop me beyond them coming into my house, and
Amen.
it's Nazi Germany all over again. Until that time,
They came into mine, and I'm not going to say I don't travel to keep.
I will tell you, if it happens that way, it won't go down nicely.
You know what?
But as far as my position is to just be peaceful and be at peace, knowing you're doing everything you can in the fight. But you have to remember to take care of yourself. You got to take care of yourself. If you wear yourself out in this fight, you're no good. If you bring people in front of the fight that are weak and falling apart, but they want to fight and they're going to fight to the end, don't let them.
Well,
you stay home today because I'm going to think about you. You need to have your feet up and have your fluffies on and a nice hot cup of chocolate beside you.
But what would you say to someone whose fuse is lit and it's short and they know they don't have a long time here?
Those are the people that need to fight. The people that want to fight and are fired up to fight should be fighting. My whole thing is just take care of yourself first.
Well, I'm saying fuse lit, they don't have much time here on this earth.
Fight is. I mean, when my time comes,
there's
you
people
better
watching
believe
you
it.
that want to know the answer to this.
I'm
right
going to
now.
be going down in flames. There's no way I'm going to go down quietly.
God,
if I'm
looking
about
at
to go
myself.
out, and I don't think I will. I mean, I have a degenerative neurological disease that will probably put me in a wheelchair, and I will probably not be able to talk well, and I won't be able to write anymore, make cookies, or type, or do anything. I've already lost 2/3 of what I can do with my hands just in the last year and a half. When I go out, I'm going to go out kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
I mean, the only cause I have to fight is life. Life's my cause. I want to live. I want to live as long as I can. I was given 100 years as a child. I was told I would get 100 years. I don't know who told me that, but someone told me.
Better
when I
be
was a
somebody
child.
really old.
Yeah, told me. Well,
Gotta be listening to
I've
this.
done my ancestry. Everybody in my family's old, but
You live till you die.
But I'm also, I feel that way, but I also feel like I just need to be, I need to be the river that's running under the rocks. Okay? I need you, the people like you need to be the rocks on the top of the river that are making, where all the shit's just crashing. And you guys are the first line of our fight. But, there has to be the cool, calm pool of water. There has to be a pool of water in this. There has to be. We are made of water, and until we can get that stillness there, we're the boat's just going to be rocking. And I don't know about you, but that just makes me sick.
Don't come a knocking.
Don't you rock my boat.
So, that's my whole platform. I think we just need to just try to find more peace within ourselves, try to take care of ourselves, know that there are people like me out here that want to connect just as badly as people like you. And we're just a star away from each other. It's just a shooting star that all we need to do is understand the trails, and we follow our people, and we network in a silent network of silence. This has to be cloaked. We want to talk about giving people the confidence to live their lives. I'm not talking about giving you the permission to do something illegally. I don't even want to talk about that. I'm telling you, have confidence to live your life and what you believe without feeling like you're going to gain the consequences, even if it has to be cloaked. Cloaked in every possible way. And in my case, I have to stay under a great big cloak of invisibility all the time. But my cloak of invisibility is also my shield. It's my bubble of protection that keeps me safe. And I believe that. That's where I spring from, that platform. And I think all of us need to feel that way. We're impervious to this. Don't let those police officers put you down. Don't let those people piss you off. Those people piss you off, they're winning. They're watching your fuse go off. They're just throwing more shit on it and watching it go.
Watch my fuse go off.
Yes, that's what they want. They want, maybe you'll just drop dead of a heart attack in front of them and they can sweep you under a rug. That's what they want to happen to Melissa. They don't care about whether she's dying or not. Are you kidding me?
Lefty.
They probably would prefer that she
Lefty
died
go?
right there in the office
What's
so they
that
could
lump?
call the police and make it all official.
Because then they did the right thing.
Yeah, they were doing everything, and they were in full compliance, and the person just dropped dead in the office.
Winkwood, I'm going to take your advice. I feel like I was in hippie rehab today. I really do. I'm going to take your advice because I want to be just like you when I grow up. If I ever do. When I decide to adult.
Yeah. I don't ever want to grow up, but if I do decide to.
If I ever
Please
decide.
don't tell me I grew up. No. That's the baddest, worst news all day. No.
You said you wanted the peaceful pool.
I do. But that's with plenty of toys. You know, I got to be happy, but I just have to take care of myself first, and I can't get out and fight like everybody else does. I'm really glad.
There's
other
also
people
another subset that I would fall into, as Bob Dylan would say, when you ain't got nothing, you got nothing to lose. I have
That's
nothing to
right.
lose, and I don't say that in a bad way.
No.
I
Bring
don't
that
have.
music into
I don't
it.
have
Woo!
I don't have a bank account, credit cards. I don't have. I could start so many sentences what I don't have, but not in a bad way. I have what I need, and I have nothing to lose. So when we show up on Thursdays, I'm immune. You know, I generally don't look over my shoulder because it doesn't really matter. And
This is why, like the argument this woman gave you
get to do
about
it.
speaking inappropriately against women. You know,
The woman who has vaginas on her timeline?
Yes,
that woman?
that
yeah.
Woman that
Oh,
shames
that one.
skinny
Yeah,
people.
that
That
one.
one.
Yeah.
you know,
Oh.
I think it's funny because it's like, do you remember when we were
See, that
kids,
was
the
anger.
sticks and stones can break my bones thing?
But this little skinny
And
girl will
words
get
will
you.
never hurt me?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go back to kindergarten for a minute. Okay.
I live in kindergarten.
I get that. But I'm just saying, you know,
Do
during
not.
this recent political campaign,
Oh, God.
there was an awful lot of name calling going
Yeah, it
on
was pretty
on
bad.
every side. And
It was great, wasn't it?
I'm just like, you know, I
That
don't
was
care.
reality
You could
TV.
call me anything. I don't care.
right.
You know, I don't know what words you can possibly sling in my direction. You know, you just
Coalesce. What does coalesce mean to you?
coalesce, I think, means to come together peacefully,
Like a coalition.
which is sort of like the opposite of acquiesce, which means to back off peacefully.
Right.
Hippies have knowledge.
So that's kind of what happened. The acquiescence happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave ground. And I believe there's some jealousy and envy involved in this because there's another radio show that's on the same time we're on, and they're involved in that. So
Just
you
understand.
they charge
kidding?
money. And they charge money too.
They understand when you're dealing with the people you're dealing with, okay?
I couldn't hear that. I must
You
have
know,
an ear.
when you're dealing with that, you're dealing with the same thing. It's almost like you're holding up a mirror. And in the position of you holding that mirror up, you're objectifying yourself for that to hit you. And, you know, it's good to do that and mirror all that right back at them. I applaud that 100%. Just give it right back.
Why wouldn't
But in
I?
the same turn, you have to walk away. If it's inside yourself or whether it's actually physically turning around and walking away.
I love shit like this.
You just talk right over them and just go
Kill
like,
'em with kindness.
I'm sorry, did you say something? And anyway, we were on to
Twat was like
turnip
our own-
farming.
we have ear
Yes,
infection.
we have wonderful turnips in Alaska this time of year.
Go check them out. The Ice Cubes will love it.
It's
They
just
grow
funny.
very big things in Alaska, I understand, and the state of Alaska pays a dividend back to every citizen every year.
We'll put you on the boat to get there, and you'll end up in China.
It's not
Ooh.
really cold.
Don't get me started like that.
So, well, Winkwood, thank you so much for your
Wait,
hospitality.
this is the woman. I'd like to say she's the woman.
We have stuff to get to,
Yes.
so we're going to stop the podcast. I want to thank all our sponsors. Wait a minute. Oh, no, we're not using them anymore. You can see you real soon.
JESSI, just easing someone's symptoms infamously.
Well, gee, how do we...
That was my plug.
Thank you all for coming. I appreciate you all being here today. And
Thank you.
You're blessed to see this
letting
woman.
letting me share a little bit about myself. I don't know if I have a place in this whole thing.
You better stop that
Oh,
now.
will you please?
I'm going to take both of these heels and insert them
Anyway.
in your butt.
Anyway, I'm just so glad.
Yeah, I
I'm
think-
just really glad that you guys came. To be
Thank you
here
for
with
having
today.
me.
Yeah, thank you. Want to thank Sativa Cross, which is us. NewJerseyWeedman.com, who's still fighting the man down in Trenton. All this month he's fighting. I believe he has court dates all this month.
Yeah, 12th, I know.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I might start a new business called See Ya MMJ.
See ya, MMG. Blue Planet Biotech. DavidVersusAutism.org. Run New Jersey, who had the greatest secret sesh ever last week. MedicalFreedom.com, medical-freedom.com. CannaSense, you can get your medical cannabis card from California with CannaSense. Tuffy's Fight, Legalize for Lorelei, JacksonStorms.com, Prayers for Sarah, Prayers for Pete, Jenny's Purple Ribbon Journey, Jenna's Journey. Okay, I think that's everybody. All our sponsors. We have another sponsor.
Yeah, it's my new one. I just got the paperwork for it.
Really?
My patients. Yeah, it's my name, but it's just easing someone's symptoms infamously.
Just easing someone's symptoms
Infamously.
infamously.
Jesse.
Jessi.
Yeah.
Infamously?
That means roguely deliver.
Go ahead.
I roguely deliver medication to people who A, don't have the money to get it. B,
Roguely?
I roguely deliver medication.
Is that a word?
Roguely.
I love it.
Roguely.
Roguely.
I rogue-esquely
You're roguing out.
deliver medication to people that need it. You know, that's why I got my thank you magical butter. Thank you. But the problem still is the finances to afford the flour to make the medication. I mean, I am a patient myself, but here we go. I've been donated. Thank you, Chrissy and Chuck O'Donnell, for their glass bowls and pendants. They donated. All the donations have been going to the medication. And, yeah, it just started. We literally were at the DC Growers Cup, and Jay as well as Pat were there. And we set up a table with your banner, which now I see why it's not so important. But, yeah, we were selling raffles.
You get it?
You like that plug? You like that plug? Yeah, it's why nobody's calling me back to get it. I didn't know
Sorry,
that.
Jim.
Yeah, I would like to say CMMMJ is a good group, does a lot of good things, and I'm very much a part of it. I'm on the board of directors. I'll continue to be on the board of directors and take part. It's just that they not even as a group, I think it's just not worth the trouble to try to validate that we really don't do the things that people are kind of stuck in the past with, assuming that you didn't grow. But I can't waste any of my time on that. Was the reason I pulled the plug on my own group being a sponsor anymore, because that ended that conversation right then, and everything else said afterwards was, well, that's really quite moot now, isn't it? I've decided, as Jim Miller, in an authoritarian way, that if I say you're not a sponsor, you're not a sponsor, won't accept any money, and the banner comes down. If there's something you need to know that can help what we're doing, you're gonna know it, you know. I mean, if we rub elbows with people that you haven't rubbed elbows with yet, it's the same thing. There's no real difference, except for that I will not be put in a position to defend our position and whether or not people would be upset, because I did it politely as I could, and I was out of room real quick, you know. And I'm kind of like that guy in that candy commercial. You don't want to see them when they're angry and they take a bite of whatever it is. Yeah, I'm a little like that.
I imagine the cheeks of your ass are checked.
I don't need to reach that point.
I don't like how they were talking about.
Well, see, it's like what Wink was saying. I don't need to reach that point, because if you can see, I'm not upset nor angry about this. I'm just not.
I am.
It's time to move on. Time for something new.
But that's why it's not. We're going to have a great podcast next year. It doesn't matter whose banner it's under. It really doesn't.
You know
and
it. And
now, without being supported by CMMJ, a 501c3 nonprofit charitable organization in good standing with the state of New Jersey for over a decade, I thought I'd give it to you one more time.
One last time.
Yeah.
No, one more time. Keep going.
I'll save one for later. But you know, we can say and do whatever we want. We can support. We can throw our support. We can have a big elect whoever we want elected at whatever podcast we want. That's between you and me.
Okay.
And nobody else. And it won't be like, well, CMMJ, they're not supposed to try to influence elections or anything. Yeah, well, they're not a sponsor anymore.
Yeah.
So we get to do that. Actually, it may improve our standing next year.
We're patients.
Can we influence elections now?
What's that?
Can we influence elections now?
Oh, we could
Can we
influence
hate Christie,
elections.
Ted
That's excellent
Cruz,
news.
Yeah,
and
I think we
Giuliani
should.
out the
I like
door?
having that power.
It's freedom.
Well, I'm a one-issue horse, so to speak. No, one-trick pony. It's a real good trick, though. And
It's a good trick.
thing is, I think we would be able to be in a position to take, as an example, Mr. Murphy, candidate Murphy. Phil, is it Murphy? I believe. Whatever. We'll call him Phil for now. We'll call him V.
Phil sounds right. I'm not sure though.
He is explicit that he wants legalization on his desk in time to pencil it into the 2018 budget, which would be well before he needed before June, by May. He's said that. So he wants that done, and if he is very explicit about that, and he's a good enough candidate to win, whoever else, if it's John Wisniewski, he's going to be running, he better say something better, because I think we should support whoever makes the strongest statement for getting this done on his desk immediately. And, we'll buddy up to him and see if we can develop a relationship without fear of losing any 501c3 nonprofit status. Oh my God. So it'll be an advantage. And we can talk however we want about women, which is with respect anyway.
I love the women.
Oh God, really?
I'm not a lesbian.
Yeah, that was really offensive. I mean, it was offensive that somebody assumes it's still going on and hasn't seen podcast all year.
I haven't seen them in years since I first started coming.
So like I said, the last 2 months worth, I thought, they were really solid. And it's not like we didn't have a plan going in. We're just not anal about it as if you need to stick to a time schedule. It actually has a little bit to do about entertainment. Of course, she would say, well, I don't know anybody that's entertained by it and all that. No, wait a minute. She would say, I don't know anybody that's entertained by what you do. There, I took
This
a
is
shot.
what I hear from her. Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, I just wanted to get a little closer to the low road to see what it felt like for a second, I didn't like the way it felt, so I take all that back.
Let's just apologize.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say, can you please stop trying to wear those
Didn't make me feel
ghetto
good.
trucker hats that don't look right? Can you just please stop for the people that do wear them?
All right. See, this is the stuff you won't hear on the other radio stations. You won't hear this kind of stuff over there because they don't know how to do good radio like this.
Don't stoop to their level.
They
stoop
don't.
to their level.
I'm stating the facts.
They can listen for themselves and
they
decide
can't-
on their own.
they can't do what
Opinions
we
are like
do.
assholes. We all got one. Some stink, some don't.
Just saying.
Hey, we were being profiled, actually. That's like a reverse sex discrimination.
I am
It was
offended.
assumed that because we're males that we would keep feeding into that impression.
Yeah.
And my guess is it was probably one statement that germinated that over all that time. And, there's been things people have said that I wish they could take back, and usually it's with oh, you can't say that.
It could have been Wayne.
It probably
Wayne on the
was.
show. She just has it in her head that it was Wayne saying something, and he's part
Right,
of
it
this.
probably
Who
was.
knows?
And the thing is, oddly enough, with Wayne, he's come along so far that
Yeah.
he's
good.
He's kept pace too. He's very good.
I think she doesn't like me because maybe she wants me to bang her.
I don't know.
And I don't want to.
See, that's just what a shock jock would say.
It's just kind of nasty
Yeah, it's
to me. Some guys like that, but not me.
It's I didn't like being talked to like I wasn't there at a board meeting. It's, they this and they that, they this and they that, and it's I'm available. I'm pot for MS at Yahoo. If you have something to say it to me. Don't wait till you have to say it at a board meeting. And
You hate women.
I'm a misogynistic pig.
You're a pig. And you're white. You're a white
Is this
male.
something they've been sitting on
Yeah,
for
well,
a year
that's
waiting to bring
'cause-
this up?
Yes.
I mean,
After she kicked me off Fully Baked Radio, it's been marinating of her.
oh wait, does this include you got blocked and all this stuff?
This is a
Oh, this is
whole
all falling-
thing with
it's
the,
all
the
fallout from that
feminist
stuff?
movement against Lefty Grimes right now.
Oh, I
because
didn't realize this was
yeah,
all connected.
there's a feminist movement that's growing against us, me and Jim, I guess now.
Well,
Sorry, Jim.
it's like, again, if I wanted to waste my time, take it away from more important endeavors, I could go back and look at last, say, 8 podcasts and go over them and find the absolute worst of it.
Are you
and,
kidding
and,
me?
and then pick out of that and say, okay, so it wasn't spot on. We're a 3-hour podcast, and we generally don't take breaks sometimes.
It's a 3-hour
you know?
constant talk podcast where random people are allowed to walk
Yeah,
up, like
and-
me,
and we-
like
and-
anyone off the street. Can
You
walk
were
up and
amazing.
grab a microphone.
I'm glad you
Like,
came on.
Well, yeah, but how can you cherry pick 3 seconds out of any
I know.
podcast where you're letting random people walk up and pick up a microphone?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
the
well,
good
you
old
know,
whether we
days.
know the person or not, it's still a random person that picked up a microphone. And
You know, every-
And it's a
Every-
story. And it's
every
a,
time I stuff my car full of all the stuff we bring,
my God.
I'd wish it was just going somewhere where it was already set up, or I could set up real quick, and we'd be indoors more like today. I mean, the difference in what we got to bring to do this outdoors
Yeah, it's a lot.
at the seat of our discontent, though. You know, there's people that watch this podcast, or at least just see the flashes of it or the pictures of it, and they're fairly amazed that we go and get that close. It's not for the people walking by in Trenton. There aren't that many. It's not for the people, seriously, that listen to us. More people read about us than listen to us, and that's fine with me.
That's
well,
good.
yeah, it's
It
the
is
location
fine with-
of the Thursday.
It's fine with me.
podcast
More people know that
Yeah.
there's these
creates
these
a
people
whole
care enough to show up every week. They care enough to show up. It must be an important issue. That's the message.
That's what
it's
Christy
an important
said.
enough issue for us to show up.
Thank you,
And
Governor.
and it was like she said, you know, and I agree, it is hard to get there on a weekday and all. So basically, you're welcome for us doing it when for both of us it'd be a lot easier if we didn't. You know, I've grown to like it, though. I'm looking forward to it next year.
You know what I
April 6th.
You know what I like about
We got to
how-
get a really cool name, man.
What a coward. Sativa Cross. What a coward. What a coward, because let me tell you something. They waited till our last podcast to kick me off the website.
I got an idea.
I was an admin on the website. I was kicked off.
Let's make cannabis great again.
They wanted to keep the connection through the
Well,
last.
we stole Christie's thing. Remember
I like that.
well, we stole his. What was it he was saying? Telling it like it is. As when he ran for president, we became the telling it like it was podcast.
Don't you like Citizens on Patrol? I like that one.
Citizens on Patrol.
I will say that I never liked the word marijuana in it. So
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
The marijuana word's got to go. I can't.
You just said it.
Coalition of cannabis.
Yeah, you're right. I like that. It should
something
always
like
have been that. But let's get to our list, because this is why we do this. For the patients that can't make it and the patients that didn't make it. Patients like Cheryl Miller. The reason why a lot of us are here is because of Cheryl. And we talked about her before, and we're going to talk about her again because we remember all of our friends and family who passed. And Cheryl was a warrior that Jim used to push her around in a bed, and she fought with her mouth, her eyes, her nose, and her ears. That's all she had to fight with. And Jim pushing her around.
Yeah.
You're a pretty good asset to her.
Yeah.
You served a little purpose.
It was something, you know, and we didn't just show up.
No, man.
Before taking her to Washington, I'd pack the car, and I'd have to go out for like a flight check. If it were an airplane, I'd sit in the car, and I'd go, "Need a drink?" Boom, and I'd know where it is without, you know, and I'd be able to get it. Oh, crackers? They're back here. You know, did you need some gum? It's right, and I, you know, where everything is. And it would still be something like I'd look over and say, "Do you need a drink?" And she'd be passed out. And we'd be on the Washington Beltway in traffic with her passed out, her eyes rolled up in her head and her mouth dropped open. Yeah, we never just showed up. You know. So, yeah. But when we did, I had protection. I had a shield in front of me. I wish I could have seen the look on my face when I thought we were both being arrested at Bob Barr's office, and they only took me, and I'm waiting in the paddy wagon, and I'm waiting, and all of a sudden the guy gets a call, you know, and he starts it up, and I'm like, "Where's Cheryl? Are we waiting for her?" "Oh, she didn't get arrested." Uh-oh. They had me by myself, chained to a wall in Metro Police where you had to stand up, or if you sat, your arm was like that. Smelled like piss everywhere because it was right outside the door to the jail, and I'm like, I hope I don't make it through that door. Yeah, I lost my barricade, you know, my shield. But anyway.
Where was Cheryl?
Yeah, so.
Where was she?
But we do have to remember those who did, especially those who fought. And left us too early. Before they got to enjoy the fruits of their labor, or just as they were starting to. And freaking list grows longer all the time. So go ahead. We get to be depressed at the end. It is depressing.
I just forgot something. The worst. This is what, V is right about me. I just screwed up. I didn't do the Magical Butter commercial. There's no box here. There's no box.
You didn't bring it?
No. So we'll just say magicalbutter.com today. I don't feel like singing. We're in the middle of the list.
Yeah, we are.
I
And
don't wanna
besides,
sing.
when you look at the time spent talking about magicalbutter.com, you could string together about 5 hours worth over the last year.
I know. Cheryl could have used that machine.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been perfect for her.
Really perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sabina Rose.
15 months old when she died.
25-hour seizure. The day plus. I can't imagine that one. I don't know. Sorry, Phil and Paula. Diane Ripatella.
She lived to see the law pass, but not to see anybody get their medicine, including her.
Little Gracie from PA. Little Cindy Mae. Marie from Pennsylvania. Jack from Colorado. Honeybee's son, Michael Dillon. Honeybee is the Sativa Cross West host. So, yeah, interesting enough, Jim, we're off the coalition, but we're on Sativa Cross West. So we actually, when one door closes, another opens, isn't that? Yeah. So Honeybee's a fighter. She's going to fight with us because she's looking for a way to deal with her, what she's dealing with her son, her loss of her son. I can't imagine how horrible that is. And she wants to channel her anger and her sadness. She wants to channel it towards something good and helping other people. And that's what she's doing out there in Oregon. And I appreciate what she's doing. She's on board.
Yeah.
She sees the importance of what's going on here. It's no joke. I mean, we make jokes and we kid around because we have to. I can't
to survive. Yeah.
I have to. I have to make jokes. I make jokes about everything. Nothing's off limits to me. But when it comes time for this list and for other serious stuff, there's no jokes.
No.
There's no jokes. So Michael Dillon, I'm sorry. Joan Ford is William's mom. She wrote the book about epilepsy called The Falling Sickness, From Caesar to Me. Randy Robertson, an activist from Pennsylvania, great guitar player, rock and roll, cool dude. Little Chad, not little, he was actually big Chad, but he suffered. He had brain cancer, and Chad's dad killed himself when he found out he had brain cancer, and it left Iris all alone to deal with this. And it was very sad watching Iris fend for herself.
Stop. Go settle down.
Jeremy is Joanne's husband. He died in a motorcycle accident. He was growing weed, and he got arrested for growing weed, and he was on probation for 4 years. He had 6 months left to go on his probation to be able to smoke, and he died in a horrible accident. 6 months away. Fuck. Colette is Jeff's mom. Matt is one of Jesse's patients. Russ Perry is a friend of mine who I added him to this list recently. I was making tincture for him in the hospital when he was dying from cancer, and yeah. And the reason why we're probably all here today is because of Roger Barber.
Yep.
Roger Barber was a warrior who fought for his daughter. He smiled all the time, but inside he was not smiling. Inside he was suffering along with his daughter. And he never showed it, though. He was always encouraging to me personally, and
Yeah, he put a cork in it for a while. That can't be good sometimes.
Someone,
Lost a lot of weight too.
yeah. Someone like him you don't come across a lot in life. It's just, he was a special guy. And this weekend there's a benefit for Roger on Facebook. You'll see it on my timeline. I'll put it up on my timeline.
It's on the Friends of CMMJ page, and on my page is open as can be. Anybody that's friends with me or not.
You going?
It's in Maple Shade. I'm going.
Maple Shade. Okay, so we're all going to go and support Laura's family, because let me tell you something. They're going broke. They're going to lose their house.
Yeah, we get to say that now. There was a time when it was like, don't tell anybody.
Nah.
And Roger, being a lawyer, dropped everything to do what he felt he had to do, and lawyer and business suffers when you do that.
Yeah.
And things pile up, and then you say, well, this is my daughter's health or my business. What comes first,
So, Jim, I don't know when our next podcast will be, but probably up north if you want to come up north.
I could do that one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll be at the Pennsylvania State House in January. But let's meet before then.
Yeah, we got to do a holiday podcast somewhere.
Yeah, let's do something. All right.
Yeah, we put on holiday hats and red and green and stuff, you know.
All right. See you next time. Thanks for listening. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them.